At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Chicago Cubs. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, dedicated to advancing cancer research, treatment, and care. More science, less fear. By Verizon, the most awarded network is now the best streaming network. By Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. And by Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. Well, the calendar has turned to June, and June is a month for flowers and greenery. It's a month for dads and their kids. It's a month for moms and dads and their kids. And sometimes when you come to the ballpark, it's a time for potatoes. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets play the second game of their four-game series against the Cubs. It's not only a new month, it's the second third of the season. The Mets finished the first third at 27-27. One of the reasons they weren't better is a lack of production out of the cleanup spot. Tonight, Devin Mesoraco becomes the 8th different Met to bat cleanup.
Well, the Mets offense has been scoring more runs of late, but Mickey Callaway is kind of always been fiddling with the lineup here. That production in the cleanup spot has been dismal. Jay Bruce has hit most of anybody in that spot, and he's got the only home run. I really feel Cespedes should be in the cleanup hole, but I'm an old dinosaur, and he's on the disabled list. He needs to get back out there and start playing. So when you're trying to get things to work and mesh, you fiddle around with the lineup, and that's what's happening right now, Gary. And how do you like those potatoes?
That's the apples are good too. Inconsistency has really been a theme with this team. That's how you get to be 27-27, and nobody's epitomized that inconsistency more than Zach Wheeler, who pitches tonight.
You know, he really has had some good games this year, but not of late. He's 0-3 in his last 3 starts, and the same, I think, inconsistency that really has plagued his entire career has crept up again. He has a lot of pitches early in the game, not able to go deep, and gives up a lot of runs early in the game.
Tyler Chatwood signed a free agent contract with the Cubs. He leads the league in walks.
Leads the league in walks, almost one per inning. Signed him to a 3-year, $38 million contract. When he was with the Rockies, he had great splits. On the road, his ERA was 2 runs shorter. That's what the Cubs thought they were getting. Not so far.
Hasn't gotten out of the 3rd inning in either of his last 2 starts. The Mets will try and keep that string going tonight. Michael Conforto jerseys to all the fans on Free Shirt Friday. Maybe even get Michael to sign one. Mets and Cubs coming up from Citi Field. Center as we team up to strike out cancer. Visit giving.mskcc.org/Mets to learn more about the Caves for Cancer program and your chance to donate. This Sunday is McDonald's Family Sunday at Citi Field. The Mets take on the Cubs at 1:10. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Mets fanny pack presented by Empire City Casino. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases postgame in the Mr. Met Dash presented by Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Time for your Lowe's whole team together as Dribble Cabrera topping the leaderboard in most categories for the Mets. He has had an all-star worthy season so far. Michael Conforto leads the team in walks as the Mets try and put together a better offensive stretch in this third month of the season. Zach Wheeler getting ready to throw the first pitch. We'll have that in a moment. Going with the orange sleeves tonight. Warm, humid evening as we approach game time. Here's your Cubs starting lineup. The versatile Ben Zobrist played second base last night. He'll play left field tonight. The center field specialist Albert Almora is out there tonight. Chris Jimenez, who was with Joe Maddon in Tampa Bay, just joined the Cubs recently. He'll get the start tonight behind the plate for the Cubs, who are 7 games over 500 and 4 games out in the National League Central.
Well, here's the Toyota numbers for Zach Wheeler. I count 4 quality starts in those 9 starts, none of them coming as of late. He has struggled again with the ability to stop the other team from the multiple run inning.
Nice crowd gathered as the Mets try and get even in this series with the Cubs. Ben Zobrist leads off. He had a big night last night. Single, double, 2-run homer. His home run snapped a scoreless tie against Hansel Robles in the 5th and put the Cubs in front to stay. Wheeler's first pitch of the night is in for a strike, and we're underway. Zobrist, Hayward, and Bryant for Wheeler, who had a rough first 3 innings his last start against Milwaukee. He settled in after that, turned in a good 4th through 6th inning, and had the lead when he left, but as was often the case on that last road trip, that didn't last. Zobrist goes after the splitter, which has become a much more important weapon for Wheeler, and he's ahead 1-2.
Nice spot on that one, down and in to the lefty.
He only started throwing that pitch 5 starts ago in San Diego, and it's become a more versatile weapon for him, and he goes right back to it and gets ahead 1-2.
And as Ronnie knows, because Ronnie threw that pitch, is that you don't have to throw it for a strike. It's a great bait pitch to get a hitter to chase.
Got to throw enough fastballs to set it up, though, and fall in love with it.
1-2 coming, and it misses low. So he's throwing it 3 times in a row now. It's 2-2 to Zobrist with Hayward on deck.
Made Zobrist took that one. That means he's very much aware of it. Pound him in.
And the fastball at 98.
Wow.
That's a rarely visited neighborhood for Zach.
I don't think anyone in baseball throws it 98 easier than Zach Wheeler.
Zobrist showing off the stirrups tonight. 7th pitch of this opening at bat, and it's fouled back.
How about the controversy he caused in Wrigley? He wears his uniform like that, but he's wearing black spikes to honor some of the older players that played at Wrigley over the years, and Major League Baseball told him he couldn't do it. I mean, things to worry about, folks. Come on.
Well, considering the variety of different shoes the players wear, you wouldn't think that anybody would take offense at somebody wearing black shoes.
Are you
silly?
I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, who is watching and decides and has a meeting? They're going to have to call Zobrist about that.
9th pitch of the first at bat of the game is ball 4, a 99-mile-an-hour fastball inside from Wheeler for a leadoff walk.
Really terrific at bat from Zobrist there in the Lexus Mets starting infield. Gonzalez, of course, the 4-time Gold Glover. Cabrera every day. Guillorme getting a lot of playing time at third base for his glove. Jay Bruce out in right field again. Nimmo moves over for his 11th start in left field.
So here's Jason Hayward, whose bat has perked up the last few days. He's raised his batting average 40 points in the last 3 games. 3 straight multiple hit games. 2 hits last night. He pops one up into shallow center. And Rosario retreats, and Conforto calls him off at the last moment, stumbles over him, and hangs on to the ball. A late call off by Conforto, and Rosario did well to get out of the way. Barely. Another example, perhaps, of Conforto not asserting himself quite enough out there.
Well, looks like a couple kindergartners out there on the playground. Nicely done, crawling over the back of Rosario.
Only difference, usually someone ends up crying when that happens.
Yes.
Maybe he's just not loud enough.
See, he's laughing.
Well, sure, because nobody got hurt.
Exactly.
But he caught the ball.
Here's Chris Bryant with 1 out and 1 on. And the former MVP takes low and in for ball 1. Bryant 2 for 4 last night. 401 on base percentage is 5th in the National League. Tied for the league lead in doubles with 17, having another stellar season at age 26. And he loops one out to right. Long run in for Bruce. He's going to have to play it on the hop. Zobrist pulls in at second. And the Cubs have 2 men on. So a little blue pit for Bryant. And Wheeler has trouble to face in the first inning.
Well, getting halfway Zobrist, and someone's got to cover second base.
Where's Rosario?
No one covered. He just stood in their spot.
That was weird.
That's the kind of play that sometimes you have a force at second. You never know.
Especially with a 37-year-old guy running. Here's Rizzo with 2 on. He chases one up and in for strike 1.
That was some serious cheddar upstairs right there. He should pitch more upstairs. Everybody should.
Rizzo's bat has been sparking a little bit better lately. 1 for 5 last night. He's hitting .340 with runners in scoring position, more than 100 points higher than his overall average. That's why he's got 37 RBIs, which ranks him 8th in the league. So an instant threat for Wheeler to deal with after a walk in a blue pit. And the Mets have been bound and determined to work Rizzo inside.
Everybody does. Quite a resume. He is a slugger.
Originally drafted by the Red Sox, traded to the Padres, and then on to the Cubs, which means Theo Epstein acquired him twice.
It's almost like Theo said, boy, I made a mistake with that trade. Next time I get a chance, I'm going to get him back.
Holds that bat straight up in the air, just about no angle. Very loose.
And the slider runs inside. Now it's 3-1. Rizzo 30+ home runs each of the last 4 years. He's on a slightly slower pace this year with 8 through the first third of the season.
Rizzo, one of the few hitters who gets hit a lot, but nothing on. No elbow guard, no hand guard, nothing on his shin.
Good step out right there. First and second, 3-1 count. A real critical pitch for Wheeler. Don't let him pitch when he's comfortable. Might get a fat one.
Zobrist at second, Bryant at first with 1 out. And Rizzo fouls off the fastball. 3-2.
So this is kind of a Zach in a nutshell, is that he gets a lot of traffic on the bases. He gets into these counts, right? These 3-1 counts to a guy like Rizzo. You're going to lose a lot of those.
And the big innings kind of hurt Zach this year.
Gave the 3-run homer to Jesus Aguilar his last start. Rizzo rolls one down to Gonzalez. Gets the out at second to return to Wheeler, covering in time for the double play. It wasn't hit hard, but Gonzalez to Rosario and back to Wheeler for the 3-6-1 double play. And the Mets get through the opening inning. Double play. Tyler Chatwood on the mound for the Cubs tonight.
I was saying before, we're going to go with the lineup first, Gary. Sorry.
Brandon Nimmo red hot on the leadoff spot. He's going to stay put there. Everybody else kind of moving around. Mesoraco hits cleanup for the first time since joining the Mets. Ahmed Rosario goes back to the 9-hole where he's been most productive. Nimmo 10 extra base hits in his last 10 games, including a double and a home run last night. He had 7 extra base hits in his first 35 games, and now 10 in his last 10. So he's not just getting on base now, he's doing it with some thump. And his OPS is now over 1,000.
Good for him.
So Chatwood averaging about a walk an inning. Land Rover numbers. He's given up the leadoff walk to start an inning 14 times. And if you notice, he always used to tap the glove. They have stopped that. He's trying to keep the ball out of his glove and bring it straight back.
And what do you feel about that, Ron? Is that going to be tough for on the fly to make that change?
Well, they're trying a lot of things with this young man. That they were thinking about him pitching only from the stretch. They've got like a well-renowned mental skills coach with the Cubs. They thought they would have him see him. I mean, all kinds of things.
Nemo thought he was going, thought he was staying, thought he was going. Finally, Adrian Johnson brought him back with a 3-1 count. And another fastball on the corner, 3-2. Chatwood had Tommy John surgery, missed all of 2015, and then came back in 2016 and had the best year of his career in Colorado. He was 12-9, 3.87 pitching in Denver. Slipped a little bit last year. And that's ball 4, and Nemo's on to lead off the game, and Chatwood walks another leadoff batter.
15 now. His motion, there's about 20 things going on for Chatwood. Ball coming out, kind of cups it there in front of him, pitches a little across his body, very robotic. It's not a beautiful, easy motion.
No wonder he's got that many walks.
It's an odd way he pulls the ball out of his glove.
Yeah. Oh yeah, kind of like prongs it in front of him.
You know, you got a leadoff hitter up. As you look at Cabrera stepping in, and it's a 3-2 count. Sometimes it's the first batter of the game. If you give up a solo home run, so what? Just goose right down, throw one down the pipe. You got 8 gloves.
I think he's trying to. It's just not. It's not working.
Jeez.
8.4 walks per 9 innings. The highest ratio for a pitcher in his first 10 starts of the season since Oliver Perez, 2009.
Ollie. Just get a little smile when you hear an Ollie.
Of course. Hey, you know, Ollie was just released today by the Yankees. He's available.
Okay.
I have to do the Jeep defense here, guys.
Well, you better do it
Starting
quick.
infield, and you brought up Ollie. Gold glove at first base. Russell at short. In the outfield for the Cubbies, the big gold glover out in right field. Almora also hasn't won a gold glove, but boy, what a defender he is.
0-2 to Cabrera, whose bat has cooled a bit. Hitless in his last 10 at-bats. Tyler Chatwood, not a big guy, just 6 feet tall. When he was coming up through the Angels farm system, they compared him body type to Roy Oswalt.
Makes sense.
Now he just has to get the Oswalt style results.
He's got a strong lower half. Strong legs.
Came up when he was 21 years old with the Angels. Traded over to the Rockies for Chris Iannetta.
He's now back with the Rockies.
That's right.
Came to the Cubs on a 3-year, $38 million free agent contract, and so far you'd have to say the results have been underwhelming. The one thing he's done extremely well, though, is keep the ball in the ballpark. Only 2 home runs allowed in his first 10 starts. There goes Nemo, and it's grounded foul.
Well, if you can imagine if you've given up home runs with all those men on base, you better keep it in the yard.
Well, for the most part, when he's pitching at his best, he's a ground ball pitcher.
A little muggy today, guys.
It's nice. It's summer type weather on the 1st of June.
Oh, yeah.
1st of June, red letter date in Mets history. Where were you 6 years ago tonight?
Yeah, right.
Right here is the answer to that question.
That was beautiful. My favorite night in this ballpark.
Of course, it was June 1st, 2012, that after 8,019 Mets games had been played, Johan Santana became the first and to this point only Met to throw a no-hitter. And the man who made the fair foul call on the Carlos Beltran ball down the left field line, Adrian Johnson, is calling the balls and strikes tonight.
That's crazy, right?
Hi, Adrian. Thank you. That's it. Now gone 968 games since the Santana game without a second no-hitter. Nemo runs. Jimenez with the throw, a good one, and Nemo's out at second. Second time he's been caught this year.
When he slid, his foot bounced up in the air. Like it was going to be close.
And he's definitely out. Nice throw.
So 1 out and nobody on. 3-2 to Cabrera. And Cabrera could use some bug spray, I think. Michael Conforto on deck. Chatwood walked his first batter, and Cabrera's got a base hit, his second batter. And the cutter on the outer part of the plate, and Cabrera's aboard with 1 out.
Supposed to be in that cutter. Leaves it out over the plate.
Ball was outside around 4 inches. Look at the stride.
So he could have walked his first 2 batters. If Cabrera had allowed him to. There's Conforto, 1 for 3 last night. Hitting in the 3rd hole tonight with Devin Mesoraco batting cleanup. Full shift on against Michael.
Tough shift here. He throws a lot of balls on the outside part of the plate. With a shift like this, this really opens up that left side of Conforto.
But Conforto, even though he's been kind of lately trying to go to left center field, he still predominantly pulls.
Yeah, you're right.
See, Chris Bryant is overlapped and is playing in the middle of the triangle on the right side of the diamond. Which he's played some second base in his career.
He's played everywhere, right? Especially his MVP year.
Feels like all these Cubs have played everywhere. It's Obrist and Baez and Bryant.
It's like Joe Madden gets bored. Says, why don't you go play out there today?
Yeah. Conforto takes the cutter for a strike. He didn't think so. 1-2.
The ball's outside. Up and away, Keith.
Outside.
Yeah.
There's Joe. It's a pretty impressive winning percentage.
Especially when a lot of it came in Tampa Bay, right?
Strike 3 called, a high fastball that caught the top of the zone for the 2nd out of the inning.
I thought that was a good pitch, Keith. One prior I didn't like.
Look at the movement. Froze him, but it's still down the old pipe. Oh.
So 2 out Cabrera at first. And now here's Mesoraco. 0 for his last 8. And he becomes the 8th different Met to bat cleanup this year. As the Mets look for some production from this spot. Deep pitch cast.
I was right down the pipe.
Not one to admire. Mesoraco chases a high pitch, and it's 0-2.
Devin's a little bit out of kilter right now of late, just recently.
Remember, he got hit by an overswing by Javi Baez last night, right in the helmet. I mean, hard and flush. But he underwent the concussion protocol, was pronounced good to go.
We were a little afraid for him because he had a funky knife.
Yeah,
catching the ball, you know?
A lot of balls. Yeah. But he said he felt fine, and the trainers agreed. And right back in there tonight, his catching cohort, Kevin Plawecki, was working out at first base today, and in fact, Mickey Callaway said Plawecki's going to start at first base tomorrow night against the left-hander Mike Montgomery. And the Mets added a 3rd catcher today. Curveball pulled down to 3rd, past Bryant, and it deflects into foul ground. Cabrera's going to have to stop at 2nd. Oh, and now we got 2 guys heading for 2nd, but nobody's covering first, so Mesoraco's able to get back. Nice backup on the play by Addison Russell after it deflected off Bryant, and that kept Cabrera from advancing to 3rd.
It kept both runners from, it kept them out of a second and third situation here.
You forget how much ground Bryant can cover with that 6'6" body. Usually no one gets leather on that.
So now 2 out and 2 on, and here is Bruce. Happy to see the calendar turn after driving in just 3 runs in the month of May.
That's got to be a career low for him.
I mean, this is a guy you're counting on to be one of your prime run producers. He's on a pace for 45 RBIs.
His former teammate Eugenio Suarez drove in 29 in May.
He led the majors. Anthony Rizzo was second with 28. There's the home run numbers. He had 36 last year for the season, just 3 so far this year. He has 2 home runs against Chatwood in 9 career at bats. And Jay chases a high cutter, and it's 0-2.
He's been chasing that high one, which, you know, is surprising because Jay likes that ball down.
You know, it's interesting in his first inning for me. I'm watching the Met hitters go out of the strike zone. That would seem to be a strange approach against a guy who has a walk per inning.
Chatwood got ahead of Mesoraco 0-2 and threw him a curveball. Mesoraco got the base hit. It's that walk ratio we were talking about. Anytime you can invoke Ollie's name, that's a good thing for somebody. Here's the 0-2, and it's too high. I was about to mention that Ollie was released today by the Yankees, and with the problems the Mets are having with left-handers out of the bullpen, who knows? Would you think about a reunion?
The last 3-4 seasons in Washington, he's been pretty spot on. Ollie ended that one season, so he'll always have a place in my heart. I don't know what it was, that extra inning game.
That 14th inning against the Nats. After he hadn't pitched in a month. The last man standing.
Because he wouldn't go down.
Yeah, he refused to go to the minor league, so they basically shunted him aside and then had to pitch him that last day because everybody else had already been used.
And what happened?
He gave up a run on the 14th, and we all went home.
Went home for the season.
I remember that.
2 out, 2 on, 2 and 2 to Bruce, and he whacks one out to right center deep. Back goes Almora to the warning track. He slides and makes the catch. Keith was bragging on Almora's defense, and he showed it off there. He's their version of Juan Lagares, and he makes a terrific play, going a long way to save 2 runs and take an extra base hit away from Jay Bruce. And thus the Mets come up empty in the bottom of the first in Almora's glove. No score after 1. sliding catch in right center.
Top of the screen, watch him on the center field. Look at him run. He really didn't have to dive in the end. That was just so he wouldn't run into the wall. He knew he had it right in the middle of the warning track. If you keep on your feet, you're going to run into the wall. You never know what might happen. So he knew exactly what he was doing.
Style points, too. Almora has been swinging the bat really well. He's hitting .313, which is 6th in the National League. Hit .298 last year and just under 300 at bats. If he ever played every day, that's rolled down to Gonzalez, and he outraces Almora to the bag. If Almora ever played every day, you'd have to think he would compete for a Gold Glove with Inciarte.
Yeah, I mean, he's that good, like Keith said. You know, I was telling you before the game, his offense, and he was not a good offensive player when he first came up. His offense has come. His defense was always there. And I was telling you, Gary, that I think that's what the Mets wanted from Lagares at some point, that offense to come in waves. It did come before he got hurt.
Well, with Almora, they always expected him. He was a #1 high draft pick, 6th overall pick.
Another #1 pick.
I mean, it's amazing, right?
Right.
We talked about all those guys last night, and we didn't even mention Almora and Addison Russell, who was a high pick for Oakland, who are starting tonight.
Again, you've got to trade. You've got to trade or develop those players too, and they've done both.
Baez drew a walk last night, and that was big news. And drawn one since April 11th.
He just takes a big rip. There's really no discipline.
Joe Madden joked after the game that they forgot to save the ball for him.
Oh, because the walk?
Big milestone. It was his 7th walk of the year, but only his 3rd unintentional walk. And Wheeler pops one on the corner at 99. The hardest radar readings we've ever seen from Zach.
Here's a guy, Baez, who in today's game with the people running the game, and I would tend to agree, he's never going to learn to be disciplined. He's always going to swing from his shoelaces like that.
And the home plate umpire, Adrian Johnson, said the ball hit the ground. And is he going to ask for help?
I think it did.
Mesoraco acted as though he had caught that ball in the air and that it was a foul tip for a 3rd strike.
He didn't even tick it. I don't. That's my issue. I don't think he ticked it at all. So it doesn't matter if it hits the dirt. He didn't even come close.
Oh, he caught it.
He definitely caught it in the air, whether he tipped it or not. And you got to ask the base umpires, don't you? They have a better look at that than the home plate umpire. That's for sure a catch.
Oh, jeez.
Adrian.
Well, he got one wrong in favor of the Mets 6 years ago. This one goes the other way. Not a reviewable play. As Baez strikes out, first strikeout for Wheeler. As was the play 6 years ago. Under the current rules, because the ball Beltran hit was right in front of Adrian Johnson and not behind him, it would not be reviewable under the current rules. So those who say that the Santana no-hitter would have gone away if there had been replay, it's not true.
They're sticking to it, though. Keith, you're right about Wheeler pitching up in the strike zone. It's nice to watch.
Throw that hard. Do it. You're always taught, Ronnie, I'm sure we got to keep the ball down. Not in today's game.
No, I would completely change the way I approached hitters.
Addison Russell batting with 2 out. Flores one down the right field line, and that goes foul.
So anybody with a split finger like yourself, Mike Scott, it would make it infinitely more easy for you. Well, more profitable for you.
Yeah.
Fastball upstairs, splitter in the dirt, up and down the ladder.
Changing eye levels. Although they didn't say that 30 years ago.
I never bought that change the eye level stuff. Even Rusty. I went to Rusty, my Rusty Staub, of course. I said, Rusty, you buy this eye level stuff? And he goes, no.
Your eyes stay in the same level?
Yeah, you take a high pitch.
Up the middle, and that'll go through for a base hit for Russell. So a 2-out single for the Cubs shortstop. And the second hit against Wheeler.
The ball jammed Russell, but hit it in the right spot. Since late April, Russell's hit over 300. Before then, it was a struggle. just like it was almost all of last season.
He had a rough year last year. Big year 2 years ago when he drove in 95 runs, and a big drop off last year. So here's Jimenez, who had been in the minor leagues until Saturday. He's had 5 at bats since being called up.
There was a theory that the Cubs signed him this winter because he spent a lot of time catching Yu Darvish in Texas. He's like the pitching whisperer.
Gilroy, California. That is the
garlic capital of the world.
You're doggone right.
How do you know that, Gary? I know it because I lived out there. I know Keith lived near there. How do you know that?
Random facts, Ronnie. Random facts.
Don't you wish you'd get rid of those sometimes? They're just like taking up space.
We played a Pop Warner football game in Gilroy when I was a kid. Very tough Gilroy team. I had a terrible first half.
Sure, because you didn't want to go near them.
Those are the farm kids.
All the garlic.
Oh.
Who's going to tackle them?
They were tough because those are the kids that were picking the farm kids.
Yeah, they weren't happy about all that garlic. 0-2 to Jimenez, and it's up high. Jimenez, yet another former Tampa Bay guy who Madden has brought in. His pitching coach Jim Hickey was with him in Tampa Bay. Jimenez caught for him in Tampa Bay. And Mesoraco blocks the curveball in the dirt, and it's 2-2.
Maybe trying to find that older catcher that kind of meshes with the pitchers. Slider down the way. Nice block by Mesoraco. You know, David Ross played such a big role on this team a couple of years ago.
Well, Jimenez is 35. He's now with his 6th different major league team. Lifetime .220 hitter. Slapped softly. Cabrera's got it, and that retires the side. A hit and 1 left for Wheeler in the top of the 2nd. No score at Citi Field. Presented by Empire City Casino. 6 years ago tonight, his 134th pitch to David Freese. The signature changeup for the strikeout that made Mets history. A seminal moment in the history of this franchise. Their first and only no-hitter.
Wow. Gives me chills watching it again.
Amazing. Frank Thomas was there.
It was.
Adrian Gonzalez leading off in the second. Adrian had a terrific series in Atlanta against the team that released him. He went 5 for 13, drove in 4 runs in that series.
We have to find out what Adrian Gonzalez's song is that he gets up to the plate. I want to find out what the name of that song is and the band.
Just next time he comes to the plate, just Shazam it.
It's. Oh, I didn't think of that.
Now that you're good with all this modern technology, Keith, I would
right.
think Shazam would be right at the top of your ledger.
Wait till my next video when I do with Haji. It's going to go viral.
I hesitate to ask why.
That cage that I have, the Kitty Walk, because I filmed it and told the people, I guess, when sales increased, they sent me a cat baby carriage. I'm going to put it together. I'm going to walk Haji down Sag Harbor Main Street in the baby carriage.
Oh, the heads that will turn. 3-1 to Gonzalez, and he bounces one slowly foul.
Do you realize there was a time that you and I would go together out to the China Club on a Monday night and have a blast?
Yep.
And now you're pushing a cat in a cat carriage in Sag Harbor?
Well, you know, we go through different phases in life.
Times of life. What we once were and what we are no more.
We started this game with potatoes. Where do you think it's going to go?
3-2 to Gonzalez with Luis Guillorme on deck. And Adrian bounces that one on the right side. And Baez throws him out, 1 away.
So very strong as chap would. See how when he pushes off, I mean, that's where he gets his strength and speed. That's drop and drive about as much as you'll see from any modern day pitcher today, or today's pitcher, you know. Most people are taught to stand tall, get the angle. He's really dropping, getting that ball to sink.
1 out now, Luis Guillorme making his 9th start. Todd Frazier began his rehab assignment for Vegas last night. Went 1 for 3. And the hope is that sometime next week, Frazier will be back with the Mets and back at his post at third base.
So you see Chatwood already has gone into no one on base, pitching straight from the stretch. Just trying to eliminate one of the moving pieces to simplify it so he can throw some strikes. His stuff plays when he throws it over the plate.
I mean, he's always been a high walk guy. I mean, last year he averaged 4.7 walks per 9 innings, which is really high. But 8.4 is just, that's unsustainable. And that's what he's at this year coming into this game. It's almost a walk an inning. Guillorme tops one. It'll kick foul.
Oh,
Nice kick save.
Premier League. I've always thought of him though as kind of effectively wild. You know, it's kind of all over the strike zone. Next thing you know, he dots one for a strike. But this year it's been a little different for him. You know?
It was in Colorado. He had a problem. Was it last year? Was in Colorado?
Yeah,
I mean, remember that, Gary? He was all over the joint.
Awful,
He was just terrible.
In fact, he made 2 starts against the Mets last year. His ERA in those 2 starts was 19.06. So the Mets whacked him around a couple of times. And he just couldn't throw strikes. Guillorme chops one slowly. Bryant comes in, gloves it, and throws him out 2 away. Around the majors presented by Audi. Clayton Kershaw came off the disabled list last night, pitched 5 innings and goes right back on the disabled list. It's the back again which kept him out for long stretches each of the last 2 years.
I sympathize. Clayton, it's no fun.
Well, a lot of people said, you know, this is his opt-out year. The only thing that could stop him from opting out would be injuries. Well, he's had them aplenty this year.
Biceps and now the back. Said it's not as bad as it was 2 years ago. That's the one that kept him out for 2 months. But even last year he missed 5 weeks because of a similar problem.
Well, there are, I believe, a certain number of bullets that you got as a pitcher, and then things start to happen to your body that never happened before.
Unless you're Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, right.
Bryant handles Wheeler's ground ball. 3 ground ball outs. And a 1-2-3 second for Tyler Chatwood. No score as we go to the 3rd. New York Mets home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. It's a humid day in New York. Temperature in the upper 70s at game time.
I got home last night, and we had the fog here. I'm on a high floor, could not see anything. I mean, the city was dark.
So were you
above it?
Above in the midst of the fog?
In the midst of the fog, yeah.
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
It is.
Tyler Chatwood, a good hitting pitcher, leads off against Zach Wheeler. Chatwood grew up in Southern California, big Angels fan, but he was a travel ball teammate of Kyle Hendricks, who's also in the Cubs rotation. Hendricks was the pitcher, and Chatwood was the shortstop. His lifetime batting average is .220, which is very impressive for a pitcher.
.250 this year.
I always liked the Cubs road uniform. I never liked their home uniform, but I like their road.
Not the ones in our day, right?
This right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the powder blue.
I like the blue, the Chicago, and the red number.
Yeah, that's good.
And I love the shoulder logo.
It's a good uniform.
The Cub on the shoulder is a little too big. I've always thought it should be a little smaller.
Okay.
The Cardinals have the great uniform, and they've enlarged their Cardinal on the bats, and I don't like. I think the Cardinals are too big in today's uniform. Well, what's my opinion? Well, what it's worth.
Easy play for Wheeler. And I guess Chatwood for the first out. Let's check out the Spectrum high-speed pitch. Wheeler hitting places he does not normally register. 99. Not sure we've ever seen a 99 before from Zach. His average fastball velocity this year has been 94.8 coming into the night.
99 tiers.
Got to be pitching with some purpose. Very nice.
96 tiers.
Oh.
Question mark in the mysterious.
Yes, it is.
Here's Ben Zobrist, who walked his first time up today. Homered last night.
And he got that one. Into the mist.
Into the gloaming. That's if you're a Cubs fan.
That's right.
The famous Gabby Hartnett home run, the homer in the gloaming. Good splitter by Wheeler to get ahead on Zobrist 1-2.
A good splitter right there. Zobrist looks good at the plate. He's in a little bit of a groove. Got 3 knocks last night. Big home run.
And he lines one into center field on cue. His 4th hit in 6 at-bats in this series, and the Cubs' 3rd hit against Wheeler tonight.
He's almost good. We were talking about his stance last night. Look at that. Look at the head. Right now, just flick of the wrist. Watch his eye on the ball. Ball goes away. Went right out. He just no follow through. Just a little top hand.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Jason Hayward, who flied to center his first trip. Your AARP take on today. Hayward with terrific career numbers against Wheeler. 2 guys that grew up in the Atlanta area.
Hayward let out a big yell when he hit the pop fly on the first pitch from Wheeler last at bat. Felt like he missed a pitch to hit. Very irritating to the pitcher when batters do that, by the way.
We hear more and more of that. Do you think it happens more and more now, or is it just our microphones are better?
Oh, audio's better. Yeah, it used to happen all the time.
And Wheeler misses the inside corner, 2-0. Was there a particular hitter who got under your skin?
No, it wasn't a particular hitter. It's just that you throw a ball and they hit it to center field and they'd scream and yell like they were supposed to hit a 2-run home run. He'd look up on the board and they're hitting 240. You're like, really? I mean, this is what you've been doing all year.
Those are the ones that are irritating. Those 220 hitters.
So when Dennis Eckersley used to celebrate after every strikeout, that was okay.
That's equally as bad. Equally as bad.
Exactly. Joaquin Andor.
Yeah.
Hayward about 10 miles from home plate.
By the way, Zach Wheeler now, last 3 starts, outside of his has 1 hiccup inning, has really pitched so much better, Ron.
Well, he's getting ahead. Putting away of the hitter is the next step.
I just think he's throwing more fastballs.
Slowly hit. Cabrera has to charge it. His only play will be to first. And he gets Hayward as Zobrist moves up to second, 2 out.
You know, don't forget the start he had, his first one with Mesoraco behind the dish in Cincinnati. Mesoraco really took charge. Funny, did you see what just happened there? Zach Wheeler had to throw a ball back into Mesoraco because he got a new one, and he hit the bat boy with it. I mean, full on.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I think the bat boy just shrugged it off.
Tough kid. Here's Chris Bryant, who plunked a single into right field his first time up. Bryant now 3 for 5 in this series. This is an odd Cubs team from an offensive standpoint. They have really been hot and cold. Hotter lately. Won 4 of their last 5. They're now 7 games over 500. Second place in what had been a 4-team scramble in that National League Central. Milwaukee in first, the Cubs in second. How about the Cardinals win last night over the Pirates, who are sinking like a pirate ship?
Yeah.
Jairo Munoz, a 3-run walk-off home run to cap a 5-run bottom of the 9th.
He's been playing shortstop for DeYoung while he's out with a broken hand.
Pirates got off to that great start, but it's kind of unraveling for them. 2-0 to Bryant.
Well, in baseball and over a course of 162, the cream will always come to the top. Water will seek its level.
It all evens out in the end.
That's right.
That's the cliche and cliche third.
That's right.
Get Bill Allman on us again.
Billy, he's the best.
You're going to have to explain that.
It's just baseball cliches that people use all the time. And Bill Allman, who played for the Mets for a short time, and I think 84, 85, was the king of them. Brown University guy, shortstop, #1 pick in the draft, I think, by the Padres.
Yeah.
So smart, and he would do it just to irritate you for inning after inning.
That's on the corner, 3-1.
You know, like 3-1 now, he'd say, hey, come on now, get a good pitch to hit. Take 2 and go the other way. I mean, those are the things he would say.
You know who was a chatterbox? There was chatterbox for 9 innings. It was Chuck Tanner when he was Pirate manager. Chuck was always vocal from the dugout.
That's inside, ball 4, and Bryant's on with a walk. Second one given up by Wheeler. Well, that's the overall for the Cubs. They lead the league in slugging percentage and on-base percentage, best in the National League in runs per game. And of late, they've drawn a lot more walks. Even Javi Baez drew a walk last night.
I think we were saying last night, though, in their wins before the series started, they average about almost 8 runs per game and just barely over 2 in their losses. So hot and cold, as Gary was saying.
So here's Rizzo, grounded into a double play his first time up. 2 on and 2 out in a scoreless game in the 3rd. And that splitter misses low and away for ball 1. He's throwing that pitch a lot tonight, more than he has in any of his starts.
I think it's going to be an effective pitch for him.
It's almost like fastball, splitter, slider in that order.
How much is too much, I guess, is the point. As someone who once threw that pitch, is there a point of diminishing returns?
Especially when you throw 98. I mean, that's the issue for Zach, is that, you know, he's probably one of the few pitchers on the Mets staff that if he has his electric fastball, he could probably pitch with just that in a game. Probably the only pitcher on this staff.
Look what that pitch did for Mike Scott. Turned him into Cy Young. Split finger, fastball upstairs.
Home Depot.
Rizzo pops it up. Rosario retreats. Calling all the way this time. And he puts it away to retire the side. So Wheeler gets around some mild trouble in the 3rd. Gets Rizzo to pop up. Still no score in the 3rd. Time when the Cubs couldn't beat the Mets. Mets swept them in the League Championship Series in 15 and then swept the season series from them in 16. A little different last year. Cubs won 4 of 6 and they took the first meeting last night.
They took 4 of 6 last year and scored 58 runs in those 6 games.
Well, 31 in the last 2 games.
That's right.
I believe it's the only time in Mets history the Mets have ever given up 14 runs or more in back-to-back games. Rosario 0 for 4 last night, back in the 9-hole tonight. It's been interesting, the machinations that Mickey Callaway has made with Rosario. He's obviously had some comfort hitting 9th as opposed to hitting 8th in front of the pitcher. But Mickey's kind of moved him back and forth the last couple of weeks.
Well, I think it's because, in my opinion, I think, you know, they've been so bad against left-handed pitching. They're just trying to get some more bats up there.
And when DeGrom pitches, they want to make sure he can stay in the game as long as he can, so they'll bat DeGrom ninth. Here's the stat of the day.
Ooh.
It's a stat to make you smile, to make you laugh, and to make you cry, all in one statistic.
Okay.
Okay, and this was in the Mets game notes tonight. And I say this in reference to, DeGrom, who's going to pitch tomorrow night, and is clearly the guy the Mets want to keep in the game the longest. So in the last 3 games before tonight, as Rosario draws a walk, it's not quite in Javi Baez territory, but that's the 7th walk he's drawn this year.
16th leadoff walk for Chatwood this season.
So the Mets have the leadoff man on. So the last 3 games, Mets starting pitchers, have not allowed a run. That make you smile, right?
Yeah.
In those 3 starts, they've gone a total of 12 innings. And that'll make you cry and laugh at the same time.
That's right.
Right? Because Matz went 3, and then Vargas went 5, and then Lugo went 4. None of them gave up a run. Snap throw by Jimenez, and back is Rosario. But think about that.
Yeah.
3 straight scoreless starts for a total of 12 innings.
You're becoming the minister of useless information.
But
I know what you're saying.
doesn't that tell you volumes?
Volumes.
About what's going on?
Yeah, of course.
And so when you look at the numbers for the Mets bullpen, which have been obviously dreadful lately, you can't help but think that that's inevitable with starters going so few innings.
The closer and closer you get to starting pitching innings to the relief pitching innings, the more difficult it is for those guys out in the bullpen.
Nimmo drives one out to left field. Back goes Zobrist to the track near the wall. It's out of here. Brandon Nimmo with an opposite field 2-run homer. It's the season of Nimmo, and the happiest man in baseball puts the Mets in front 2-0.
He'll make you smile.
7th home run of the year for Nimmo, who just keeps on producing extra base hits.
Can't take him out of the lineup.
And they will not.
You got to make room for him. This guy brings energy. Let's see the swing. Ball away. Outer half. Just got under it. Nice level swing. You don't have to try to hit it out of the ballpark. What a season he's having.
I got a stat today that I thought was really interesting. Fly ball rate for Nimmo in his career, 33%. This year, 48%. That's a big change.
Well, a lot of those fly balls are sailing over fences or going up against walls.
Yep.
Hey, we're third of the way through the season, just starting the second, third, and he's on a pace. And remember, he didn't play full time in that first third. He's on a pace for over 20 home runs.
A Mets home run means City will donate enough for No Kid Hungry to provide 20,000 meals to kids in need. Cabrera drives one deep center field near the wall. Almora is able to reel it in. Another fine play by Almora, denying Cabrera for a long first out.
Well, unlike April, humidity has come to Citi Field. Ball's traveling a little bit now.
Going back to Nimmo for a moment. Yeah. He doesn't yet have enough plate appearances to qualify for the league leaders. But if he did, he would have been second in on-base percentage in the league coming into the night and second in slugging percentage.
And just keep hitting line drives. Don't do anything different.
That's right below us.
All the Confortos are here tonight. I think that's about 38,000 Confortos.
That's right.
It's a large family.
Great crowd tonight.
Very nice panning back to the field, Al. Very well done. Nice tilt up.
you know what you're talking about? Should put Keith in the director's chair for one inning. See how that goes.
Well, we got the all-star team here. Our cameramen are the very finest.
He'll give them directions, and they'll all be shooting the opposite way.
I actually stopped into the with the camera guys are there, their little room 2 days in a row. The break room? Okay. That's what it's called. It's always nice to see them.
Yeah, with the tilt up. And Chadwood strikes out Conforto on the changeup for the second out. Second time he's gotten Conforto his only 2 strikeouts of the night.
Boy, he really has that ball buried in the back of his hand.
You know, and Chatwood's one of those guys that's got good stuff, and you can get up to the plate, and he can put you away, and you sit there and you go, okay. And then you go up the next time, and you'll either throw a fat one or you won't even come close. Yeah. He's one of those guys.
Here's Mesoraco, who banked one off Bryant for a base hit his first time, and he takes a fastball strike.
Look at the grip. I mean, it really is buried. All of his fingers tightly wound against that baseball, so it comes out splat with nothing on it.
And that's his 4th pitch. I mean, he's only thrown his changeup 6% of the time this year. He had only given up 2 home runs this year until Nimmo took him deep. Last night it was Zobrist with a 2-run homer to break a scoreless tie, and tonight it's Nimmo.
Well, it's nice to be warm for a change.
Chadwood's gone 2 2/3 innings tonight, which is exactly how far he went in each of his last 2 starts. Trying to get a little further tonight. Mesoraco grounds one into the shift, and Russell's got it. And that retires the side. 2-run homer for Brandon Nimmo after a leadoff walk to Rosario. Nimmo going oppo on an 0-2 pitch. Happiest man in baseball. 2-0 New York. p.m. It's a McDonald's Family Sunday with the first 15,000 fans in attendance receiving a J. Reese Familia Fathead, courtesy of McDonald's. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Zach Wheeler staked to a 2-0 lead as we start the fourth. Albert Almora grounded out to first base his first time up. Baez and Russell to follow for the Cubs. And it's hit sharply toward the hole. Nice stop by Rosario. The fire skips on by Gonzalez, and safe at first is Almora. Well, the first half of the play perfect, but Rosario's one-hop throw stayed down, and Gonzalez couldn't stop it. It'll be a base hit.
It will be a base hit, but technically, it's a sink. He's out if it makes a good throw. So you could rule that an error. It would be a very tough error.
He got up from that backhand all twisted like a pretzel. He could never get untwisted.
It would be a very tough error.
Well, Gonzalez has saved a lot of errors this year. Couldn't smother that one. And here's Baez, who struck out his first time up. So that's the fourth hit against Wheeler. And a knee-high fastball for a strike. Wheeler about to throw his 60th pitch with nobody out in the fourth. And Baez bounces it off his foot. It's a foul ball. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, Devin Mesoraco has earned rave reviews across the board for his work behind the plate with the Mets pitchers. He has two very clear and very simple philosophies. Call an aggressive inside game, which is something that we've seen pretty clearly since he's come over here, but also get a good tempo going. Get that ball immediately back to your starting pitchers. And so with Zach Wheeler and Steven Matz in particular, guys who sometimes have overthought things and their tempo has slowed down, they said they've noticed that distinct difference, that as soon as they throw a pitch, it's seemingly right back in their hands and they can get back on that mound and keep going.
Is that a big deal, Ronnie?
It's all part of tempo, Gary. You want to work as quickly as you can. Everyone has a different kind of tempo, right? But I think for Mesoraco, I think he's upped the tempo of Zach Wheeler, and that's a good thing. I think Wheeler sometimes we get stuck out there trying to decide what to throw. Since I've seen Mesoraco here, very little shakeoffs. He's calling the game. They're trying to execute.
Good curveball by Wheeler to get Javi Baez for the first out.
It's always hard to tell with Javi because he doesn't want to leave.
I was pretty certain there were two strikes, but then I was second guessing myself. If only the Mets could have had Devin Mesoraco in the Steve Traxel years.
Oh, how about Daisuke?
I mean, those were Daisuke. Remember
the
last year that he was here, he actually did pitch faster. But Traxel, that was almost a lost cause.
I don't remember, and I know we did the games. I don't remember Steve Traxel. Like, it didn't irritate me how slow he was. But
really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I only saw him. He only pitched. He didn't pitch all the time in 06, right?
That was his last year with the Mets. But he was there for a number of years before that.
But I missed those years, yeah.
So maybe it was the accumulation of, the number of starts that we got to witness.
There you go.
Now, Steve had some great starts. Pitched a couple of one-hitters for the Mets, but he was excruciating at times. There goes the runner, and Russell fouls it off.
Guys, I'm very surprised you're leaving out my personal favorite, someone who easily could have used Mesoraco, the great Antonio Bastardo.
He wasn't here long enough either.
The equivalent, I don't know if you faced him, Keith, but Kansas City Royals had a great pitcher, Kevin Appier,
right, well,
who used to take forever.
He was a Met too.
Oh, he was?
Oh, yeah.
Missed those years too.
After the 2000 season, when the Mets couldn't re-sign Mike Hampton, that's grounded down to third, a chance for two. Guillorme, a bad throw, and Cabrera digs it out of the dirt, and they get the force.
Fortunately, it was a long hop. Playing the long hop. He knows he has to. Oh, he got it into the palm of his hand in the exchange.
Did you notice also, too, Keith, his right foot kind of slipped while he was throwing it. It almost came out from under him. Maybe that's why he didn't get enough on the throw.
Fortunate to get the lead man. So now 2 out and Chris Jimenez the batter. Jimenez grounded out his first time up. City probables the remainder of the series. Jacob deGrom, leading the league in ERA, goes tomorrow night against Mike Montgomery, who's filling Yu Darvish's spot in the rotation. Stephen Matz still hopeful of making a start Sunday against John Lester in a matchup of left-handers. Mickey Callaway said he'd let everybody know after the game whether Matz was going to be good to go. Anyway, just to finish the thought on Apier, after 2000, the Mets couldn't sign Mike Hampton. He went to Colorado because he said the schools were better. So the next best available pitcher on the market that winter was Kevin Apier, and the Mets gave him a 4-year deal. And he had his ups and downs as a Met. He big time germaphobe.
Oh, right. I'm not big time, but I'm on my way.
I'm getting there.
I'm bringing you along.
Up and away to Jimenez.
The best pitcher I faced in the American League that 1 year, I didn't face many. I only had a little over 100 at bats. Was Kevin Brown. He had heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw hard, and that ball ran. He had sink.
He was a great pitcher.
He was good.
And he was nasty.
I got up to the plate off of him, and I knew I was finished, and I saw his first fastball, and I've never in my life, I said, I have no chance in this at bat. I have no chance.
Wow.
That's when I knew it was time to hang him. The other guy was the relief pitcher for the White Sox, the closer.
Bobby Thickenham.
Cabrera settles under the pop-up, and that retires the side. A leadoff infield hit for Almora, but Wheeler, after being handed the lead, throws up a 0. 2-0 Mets in the 4th. Last night.
Okay, there goes Bryant. Bryant stays there. You go figure. This is
Okay.
No one's on base. Okay, this is ridiculous.
The one where Zobrist and Baez just switched positions, that one I didn't understand.
I mean, it's just, come on.
There's so little action. That's how we're trying to provide some action for you.
Come on. Okay.
Can't put balls in play, at least put
There we go.
players
People in
motion.
play. Yeah.
It's like
This would drive me nuts.
It's like the NFL.
exactly.
The only thing missing is the pitcher tapping his back foot.
Omaha.
There you go. Good catch by Jimenez.
Bruce was robbed of a 2-run double his first time up. A sliding catch by Almora on the warning track in right center. Bruce, Gonzalez, and Guillorme for the Mets in the fourth. Chatwood comes low and in with a cutter, 2-1. Bruce pops this one up. Russell calling all the way. Stay out of my way. 1 out. Well, May was ugly for Jay Bruce. Of course, it was ugly for the entire team.
Yeah.
Mets were 17-9 at the end of April. They went 10-18 in May, so they played 654 ball to the end of April, 357 ball in May. There are only 2 other seasons where the Mets won at least 60% of their games in March/April, and then less than 40% in May. 1973, which ended up really well, and won the National League East that year. In 1976, which didn't end up quite so well. The Diamondbacks this year became the second team in Major League history to be over 700 at the end of April, and then under 300 in May.
Wow.
Only the 1987 Brewers had done that before the Diamondbacks pulled that strange combination. One and one to Gonzalez, who grounded out his first time up. You see those numbers. Top of the heap. Riding high in April, shot down in May.
That's right.
That's life.
Did you ever think about that, Keith? Like you had a bad month? Boy, thank God May's over. And you re-kick it in June. I never.
It used to be June for me.
Yeah, I never used to think that way.
And I always felt it was because I grew up in San Francisco, and it was always in the Giants would go into that June swoon, the papers would call it. And I think it through osmosis or whatever, it seeped into my brain.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, because that's been a thing for a long time in San Francisco.
Yes.
June swoon.
That was the Mays and McCovey, Marichal era, the great Giant teams, and they would have terrible Junes. And to me, June was a month I wanted to get through because it was the last month of the first half. And then the beginning, July was obviously the beginning of the second half, and I couldn't wait to get to August, kick it in gear.
Well, last year, 9 of the 10 teams that had the best records at the end of May went on to make the postseason. The Cubs were the exception. They were not one of the top 10 teams at the end of May, but they won their division.
That's right. The Brewers had a big lead on them at this point.
Well, the Cubs are behind again, 4 games back as we start June. Gonzalez slaps one right at the shortstop. Russell playing alone on the left side of the infield, and that's the second out. So Chatwood set down 5 in a row since the Nimmo home run. And now Luis Guillorme, who grounded out his first time up. So I've got your career batting average by month in front of me.
Yes. What do you think of my August and September?
Those were your highest months.
Thank you.
September 313, August 310.
Thank you.
May 307. Hit sharply. Russell was there to grab it. Your worst month, though, wasn't June. It was July, 275.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
All-Star break just put you in a skid.
We can stay. We don't have to go to commercial break. We can talk about it.
Bruce has been taken out of this game. Jay took a turn at bat in that last half inning. Jose Bautista comes in to play left field. Brandon Nimmo moves from left field to right field. And we'll find out as soon as we can what has befallen Jay Bruce, who popped up in that last half inning.
You know, you'd think that Bautista would be more comfortable in right field all those years he played right field in Toronto, but boy, he's looked good in left.
He's looked good at the plate.
Yes, he has.
You told me, I asked you when, because you had him in Milwaukee, and you said, Keith, he's swinging the bat good. And you were right.
Tyler Chatwood hit a comebacker his first time up. He starts the 5th inning looking for the chance to bunt his way on, and takes a strike. Ben Zobrist on deck, then Jason Hayward for the Cubs in the 5th against Wheeler, who's given up no runs and 4 hits. So that means the last 4 games the Mets have played, their starters have gone 16 scoreless innings. The key, though, is to get more than 4. 1-2 to Chatwood.
See the cat behind the plate. It's so funny when the line drive comes straight back. The netting is there, but the folks just always react anyway.
How could you not?
Right?
And Chatwood foul tips it. Mesoraco squeezes it. And Wheeler's got his 3rd strikeout of the night. So 1 out of the 5th, and now Ben Zobrist, who's been aboard twice on a walk and a single to center. It would seem as though Joe Madden is playing Zobrist just enough. He's 37 years old.
Yeah.
This is the 31st game he started of the Cubs' first 54. Of course, they can play him everywhere. He's actually played more in right field than anywhere else this year because Hayward was out with a concussion for a couple of weeks. But his versatility was one of the great selling points when he went on the free agent market a couple of winters back.
Nice try. Zach's throwing good. Got his rhythm.
Out to right center, and Nimmo's right there. And that's the 2nd out. So 2 out and nobody on. Doug and Andy discuss the latest on Noah Syndergaard's finger injury and see a light at the end of the tunnel with Michael Conforto at the plate on the latest Shea Anything podcast. Search Shea Anything and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. So Wheeler has a chance for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night as he takes on Jason Hayward. Hayward is 0 for 2 tonight. We've talked a lot about how home runs in the game have spiked since midseason in 2015, and there was recently a study showing less drag on the ball's going farther. Of all the players who had 1,000 at bats both before and after the 2015 All-Star game, nobody's had a bigger decline in home run rate than Jason Hayward. His home run rate's gone down 46% since before the 2015 All-Star game.
He doesn't rotate at all. He has no rotation. He locks his hips up, and thus it's going to be hard for him to hit with power.
But he did when he first came up with the Braves.
Yes, he did. And I wonder, you know, he had that shoulder injury, and I just wonder how much that has affected him because he became a different hitter after that shoulder injury. He's way off the plate.
I mean, how do you reach the outside corner?
Well, you got to strike towards the third baseman over the shortstop.
Also, don't forget, you know, he's 6'5", 6'6". He's got longer arms than most. Out of the box,
He's
too.
out of the box.
3-2 from Wheeler. And he got him looking, side retired. First 1-2-3 inning of the night for Wheeler. He's got his 4th strikeout. He's got 5 scoreless innings under his belt. Halfway through at Citi Field. Wheeler and the Mets up 2-0 on the Cubs. Home 5th inning. Zach Wheeler leads off against Tyler Chatwood. Mets with a 2-0 lead. And a first pitch changeup in for a strike. Wheeler grounded out his first time up. Rosario and Nimmo to follow. Nimmo's 2-run homer, the difference in this game. And Wheeler has done the rest with 5 scoreless innings. And he lifts one down the left field line. Zobrist coming over. And he almost dropped it. But he stayed with it for the out. He was having a little trouble with his footsteps.
Yeah, footwork. He and that would not been in the transfer. But watch, he catches it. Oh, maybe.
The old one-handed all-star.
The ship has sailed, Keith.
See, that is.
He's scolded by Juan Hernandez.
Not everybody has a Juan Hernandez, Keith.
I had one too. Senior would have not liked that.
Rosario walked and scored in front of Nimmo's home run in the 3rd. Good curveball by Chatwood, and it's 0-2. There's your game summary. Wheeler now has thrown 8 consecutive scoreless innings going back to his last start. Chatwood's only walked 2 tonight. That's better. We got word on Jay Bruce. He came out of the game with lower back discomfort. Hopefully that's nothing too serious. Trying to think if Jay's had back issues before.
I don't think so.
He's had a foot problem he's been dealing with since spring training with the plantar fasciitis. To Rosario, and he chases for strike 3. third strikeout of the night for Chatwood, who's now retired 8 in a row.
That's the first time that Rosario has really chased badly in a while.
Yeah, that kind of was like a throwaway at bat we saw sometimes in April that we haven't seen recently.
So now Nimmo, who's having himself another night, walked in the first, and then hit an opposite field 2-run homer on an 0-2 pitch in the third. His 7th home run of the year. 11 extra base hits in his last 11 games. And he's now homered in back-to-back games.
Do we still do those text polls? We should do one of those on who's the most popular Mets player right now. Nimmo's got to be in the top 2, 3. Tweet it.
Most popular.
Yeah, popular.
SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Beautiful.
God, I would have loved to have that super slow on me around the bag when I was playing.
Any other players you would have liked to have seen?
Not really.
Come on out. I might have got up in the morning early just to watch the SNY full pass forward.
Then you wouldn't have gotten your sleep. Then probably your batting average would have lagged. Better off this way. The Nimmo home run was the first that Chatwood has given up away from Wrigley Field this season. Only the 30s allowed overall. And that's scalded toward the hole, a base hit.
There you go.
Nimmo's on base for the 3rd straight time, and right now you just can't get him out.
Well, look what he's doing too, folks. With shifts today, you can't play shift on Nimmo. He's using the whole field. Hit the home run to left center field. Now he pulls the ball into the hole. So don't tell me when you go gap to gap and they can't put these shifts on, yes, you can hit ground balls. He is the ideal table setter.
Nimmo was caught stealing in the 1st inning. 2nd time in 7 tries. Jimenez threw him out by a healthy margin. Cabrera's 1 for 2 tonight, and he takes the cutter up and in for ball 1. As Dribble singled to center in the 1st, then hit one deep to left center that Almora ran down in the 3rd. As Dribble rolls one down to Rizzo, and that'll retire the side. Nimmo picks up his 2nd hit of the night, but the Mets are done in the 5th. Oh, there's the super slow-mo. Your moves around the booth.
Look at that.
Maybe get up early and watch that.
Look at the grace.
5 scoreless innings, 4 hits allowed. He struck out 4 and walked 2. Chris Bryant leads off in the 6th and takes inside, and we check in with Steve.
Well, Gary, despite already having one NL MVP under his belt, it seems like Chris Bryant is getting better and better every year. Offensively, the one noticeable improvement has been his plate discipline. His first season in the league, he struck out about 30% of the time. He's got that number down to about 17% right now. And Joe Madden said the #1 pitch that was really a problem for him that no longer is the slider low and away. Says it's a common pitch for young hitters to struggle with. But once Bryant and other young hitters realize that it's essentially just a bad fastball, everything seems to fall into place as it really has for Chris Bryant.
Popped up. Gonzalez barely asked to move. And Bryant retired for the first time tonight, 1 away. Let's check in with the studio. Eamon McEnany has a game break brought to you by your Tri Honda dealers. Eamon? Garrett Cole going tonight for the Astros after Lance McCullers did a nice job shutting down the Red Sox last night. Here's Anthony Rizzo, who's 0 for 2. That makes sense what Steve was talking about with Bryant, about that slider low and away being the key for a young hitter to try and figure out to advance himself forward.
Well, I think everybody's, when everybody comes up, you're a fastball hitter, and you get to the, you move up in the chain in the minor leagues. When you get to the big league level, and especially today, it's more breaking balls. Sure. Remember, I always tell the story that our bullpen coach, Dave Ricketts, took me out and had me hit the 2-tire curveball
Yeah,
machine.
curveball machine.
Put it on big, the biggest tilted arc, and the slowest, like a slow breaking ball. And I learned to hit the breaking ball that way. So it's all, the key is slowing everything down, not trying to go out and reach the breaking ball and pull the slider away. It's a lefty to a lefty, righty to a righty. And also, Gary, what's most key is knowledge of the strike zone. If a pitcher gets you to chase that bad breaking ball, that's all you're going to get.
Rizzo flies one out to right. Nimmo back a couple of strides. 2 out.
I think the thing that I'm not amazed at all, because he's that good, but I marvel at is that it seems like Chris Bryant picks something to be better at every year, and he does it. Rookie of the year, MVP. The 1 year last year, he decided that he was going to be a better 2-strike hitter. He did it. This year, he's trying to work on having a better knowledge of the strike zone. He'll probably walk more this year. He's just constantly learning, which says a lot in his behalf.
Almora cracks one into center field, and he has his second hit of the night. So after Wheeler had retired 7 in a row, a 2-out single.
Chuck and duck kind of scenario. Been there, done that.
Just duck effectively.
Quickly.
Here's Baez, who's been up twice and struck out both times against Wheeler. 51 strikeouts now for Baez, but 13 home runs and 43 RBIs. Tied for the league lead in runs batted in coming into the night. And a slow ground ball. Cabrera far to his left to get it. And he throws out Baez to end the inning. Zach Wheeler continues to roll. 6 scoreless innings tonight and a 2-0 lead. 2 hits for Nimmo tonight, including a 2-run homer for all the runs in this game. Zach Wheeler has done the rest. As we go to the bottom of the 6th, Michael Conforto, who struck out twice tonight against Tyler Chatwood, swinging in the 3rd after going down looking in the 1st. Conforto, Mesoraco, and Bautista for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. Well, Chatwood's done a better job of throwing strikes tonight, only 2 walks after leading the league in walks coming in. But he gave up a home run for only the 3rd time this season, and that's the difference after a walk. One of only 2 walks he's issued tonight.
Both leadoff walks, though, and that's always not good. 2-0 here on Conforto.
Bryant shifted over to the right side. And Michael takes one at his feet for ball 3.
I don't think he threw that pitch with much conviction. That was a changeup, 2-0?
No, a little cutter, fastball. But I think at this point, I think there's one reason that Jimenez is in there catching. You know, he's caught in a lot of good pitchers. He's been around the block. And that was a interesting mound visit at 3-0, right? Just to calm him down. Come on. You pitch a great game. You're still pitching well. Let it go.
First visit of the night for the Cubs. And Conforto takes ball 4, and so Chatwood has walked another leadoff hitter. 3rd tonight. Science of Baseball brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. More science, less fear.
Well, 2 different ways of the lower half and using it for a pitcher. Chatwood's a little shorter, stockier, stronger maybe in his lower half. And you see how low he gets the push to get the velocity on his fastball. And boy, Wheeler doesn't use his lower half really much at all. Just a huge stride. The foot comes off the mound with really no push off or drop or drive. He's just blessed with a great arm.
Meanwhile, the Cubs spend their 2nd mound visit in the course of 2 pitches. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, out with the rest of the infield to talk to Chatwood before Devin Mesoraco steps in. Cubs bullpen getting cranky now. Left-hander Randy Rosario, who was recently called up by the Cubs and has done well since arriving. Getting ready for Adrian Gonzalez, who's 2 batters away. First it's Mesoraco and then Bautista. Devin tonight 1 for 2, had a single off Bryant's glove in the 1st inning. Conforto at first and nobody out. And that cutter runs inside for ball 1.
Devin been a little bit, just pulling a little bit too much lately. Powerful swing, powerful hitter.
Do you guys agree that shifting goes part and part with your pitcher's ability to pitch the spots, right?
One would think.
Well, what if you have a pitcher who doesn't pitch the spots? Very difficult to shift because, you know, when you're looking for the ball soft or inside the Mesoraco to hit to the pull side, sometimes Chatwood will throw it away.
So you're counting on the hitter to play to his tendencies, even if the pitcher can't pitch to his.
Yeah, I find
That's
it
on
interesting.
the corner. After 6 in a row out of the strike zone, Chatwood throws a strike.
Right on the corner, too, like you said.
Well, we've seen Mesoraco played with 3 infielders on the left side. They're not playing it that way now in a double play situation. And that one sails past his chin. It's 3-1.
That's a good one. That'll get your attention.
You ever feel a breeze from a pitch?
Yes. Off of the White Sox closer.
Thigpen.
Oh, under my chin.
Second Bobby Thigpen mention of the night.
The Thigpen threw bullets.
Oh, in the dirt for ball 4.
He's done.
So back-to-back walks issued by Chatwood to start this bottom of the 6th. Well, he's got the lefty up in the bullpen, Rosario. You got the right hand hitting Bautista coming up. So does Chatwood get one more batter?
Yeah, it'd be interesting if Jay Bruce was still in the game.
And then he'd be out.
That's right.
But Bruce left with lower back discomfort. Bautista took his spot in the batting order, and so Joe Maddon's going to go with his struggling starter for one more hitter. Bautista went 0 for 4 last night. And he's got a chance here to expand the Mets 2-0 lead with Conforto and Mesoraco aboard and nobody out. And a slider out of the strike zone for ball 1. So Chatwood starting to implode. That's 10 pitches he's thrown in this inning, 9 balls.
Well, I believe Madden kind of kicking himself for not having a right-hander up along with that left-hander. But who can foretell Chatwood blowing up here?
Yeah. Well, you would think Madden would. He's been watching him. That's called a swing on Bautista. That's a really rough call on a pitch that was well out of the strike zone. And Jose goes and takes a walk.
Guys?
Well, if you don't have a definitive answer, then he definitely swung.
I don't think he swung.
You never think they swing. Bautista's been hitting line drives. Has yet to hit a home run as a Met.
Can break this game open.
Pops this one foul. And Jimenez right near the screen has enough room to reel it in. Boy, you don't see too many caught in that area in this ballpark, but that's a big first out for Chatwood.
Big decision right here. 2-0 when he came up and in. Let's see what the Madden's doing the right thing.
No question.
No doubt.
He threw 3 pitches. None of them were strikes and got an out.
Well, that second pitch was huge. Looked like he was going to fall behind 2-0, but Bautista called on the half swing. So Chatwood is coming out. Double switch for the Cubs. Kyle Schwarber's coming to the game, and so is the lefty Randy Rosario. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 2-0 Mets in the 6th. We'll be right back. Bullpen.
Pitched a little bit. Well, go ahead, Gary. Changes.
Ben Zobrist moves from left field to second base. Kyle Schwarber comes into play left. He'll bat ninth. Pitcher goes in the 6th spot as Baez comes out. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Okay, from the DR, our left-hander Randy Rosario pitched in Minnesota just a couple of games last year. Acquired from Cincinnati. He's a guy that can go multiple innings. He's gotten a win this year, getting 7 outs.
Adrian Gonzalez first to face him. And his fastball misses inside for ball 1. Adrian's been up twice, grounded out both times. Tyler Chatwood walked the first 2 hitters in the 6th. Got Jose Bautista on a foul pop-up. And now Rosario with 2 left-hand hitters in a row up. Gonzalez and then Guillorme called upon to try and get the Cubs through this 6th. Chatwood threw 96 pitches over 5 1/3, 4 hits, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, 1 home run, and 2 runs so far, and responsible for the 2 on base. Gonzalez lifts one out to left. Schwarber right in his tracks, and he makes the catch for the 2nd out. So now Guillorme, who's been up twice and grounded out both times. That's bullpen starts to get busy. Wheeler is due up next. For the moment, Zach is out on deck, but we'll see if the strategy changes if, say, Guillorme draws a walk to load him up. And he takes a slider for a strike. Paul Sewald up in the Mets bullpen. Wheeler has thrown 6 scoreless innings and thrown 94 pitches. You'd love him to go out there and pitch the 7th, but if a chance presents itself to break this game open, Mickey's going to keep his options open.
No.
But Russell was there to field the ground ball and gets the force play, and so the point is moot. And Wheeler will pitch the 7th after Rosario comes in to get 2 outs. 2-0 after 6. Prepare to return for the DL on Mets blog presented by Citi, featured on SNY.TV. Well, Zach Wheeler takes the mound for the 7th inning. He's thrown 6 scoreless innings tonight, 9 straight scoreless innings going back to his last start, and he'll try and protect a 2-0 lead against the lower third of the Cubs batting order.
I remember when you would get late in the game, or I would get late in the game like this, I'd always say something to myself. I'd say, all that has happened before now means nothing unless you finish this off. Now, today's game, maybe that's just this inning, right?
Well, he's certainly not going to be asked to go beyond 7, but if he can get 7, that would be a big feather in his cap.
But you know what I'm saying? He's pitched beautifully, but if you don't throw up 7 scoreless, it's all moot from before, for me, anyway.
And he quickly falls behind Russell 2-0. Russell's 1 for 2, single to center and grounded into a fielder's choice. Withers allowed 5 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 4. Steve Island keeping a close watch on him. And now it's 3-0. Chris Jimenez, the catcher and number 8 hitter on deck. Then you got Schwarber in the 9-hole behind him.
Go after him.
Same pitch.
Take your chances. Can't beat you. No free passes.
Pitch number 99 for Zach. And it's fouled at the plate, 3-2. With his next pitch, when Wheeler gets to 100, it'll be his 3rd straight start with 100+ pitches. First time he's had 3 straight starts with 100 since before the Tommy John surgery back in 2014. Three-two coming to Russell, and it's poked the other way. A base hit for Addison Russell, and thus the Cubs get the tying run to the plate in the 7th. Russell's 2nd hit of the night.
That's okay. He earned his way on. No free passes. That was actually a pretty good pitch. That was knee-high outside corner.
That was really good hitting by Russell. It's their pinch hitting phenom is coming up, Gary.
Going to bring up Tommy La Stella to bat for Jimenez.
That's nice hitting.
Dave Allen calling down to the bullpen. Seawald has been throwing. You got the left-hand pinch hitter La Stella, and then another left-hand bat in Schwarber, and then the switch hitter Zobrist. So it's mostly left-handed sticks coming up. La Stella picked up another pinch hit last night. He's been the best pinch hitter in baseball. He's got 11 pinch hits in 25 at bats. And a fastball in for a strike, 0-1. And the fact that Jerry Blevins is not up in the bullpen at this point of the game tells you how much he has struggled and how little faith Mickey Callaway has in his prime lefty right now. On the other hand, Seawald and Gazelman have done a better job against lefties than Blevins has.
Yeah, but La Stella, like I said before, he's having a phenomenal year so far as a pinch hitter, and Schwarber is the guy that can put your team ahead in a heartbeat.
I mean, what are you paying him for? You got to run him out there.
Well, I'm not sure Blevins even available tonight after going a full inning last night.
And Bauman threw the last night too, a lot of pitches.
Yes, he did. Tommy La Stella, a Jersey kid, St. Joseph's Regional in Montvale. There goes the runner, and he hits it right through the vacated hole. A hit and run base hit for La Stella. Russell goes to 3rd, and the Cubs have the table set 1st and 3rd, and nobody out. A little old school hit and run for Joe Madden and the Cubs, and La Stella comes through with yet another pinch hit, his 12th of the year.
Oh boy, how about that? Who wants to hit and run? Know your hitters. There's a guy who knows. Look at the inside out. Vacated. Rosario vacates, and now you're in for a big inning.
And that's going to be all for Zach Wheeler. Zach gets 2 batters in the 7th. Gives up back-to-back hits. And he'll exit in favor of Paul Sewald. Mets will make a double switch as well. Reyes will come in and play 3rd base. So the Mets with a 2-0 lead. That's in jeopardy now in the 7th inning as Wheeler takes his exit after 6 innings plus. Paul Sewald brought in to face Kyle Schwarber with first and third and nobody out, and Schwarber takes inside for ball one. Jose Reyes now playing third. He'll go in the 8th spot as the Mets double switch Sewald into the game.
Sewald's so strong in April, but his May numbers have really struggled. 17 innings pitched, ERA over 5. It's going to be a tough mark for him because he likes to keep the ball down. The way to get Schwarber out is belt up, but neither pitcher's caught the strike zone yet.
Now you got 2-0. Dead fastball hitter.
Sewald's last outing Tuesday night in Atlanta gave up 2 runs in 2 innings. And Schwarber lifts one to center. Conforto waits for it to come down. Tagging at third is Russell. Double clutch throw by Conforto. It's to the backstop, and that enables the tying run LaStella to go to second base. Terrible throw by Conforto. He double clutched it, missed the cutoff man, threw it to the backstop, and he compounds the sacrifice fly into a spot where now a base hit could tie the game.
Once the double clutch, this is the second time he's thrown the ball over the cutoff man's head. Now he's got to stop that.
And you also have to know who's running. Addison Russell, one of the best athletes on this field tonight. You're not going to throw him out even with a perfect throw.
It's not an error. It's just second on the throw, but it's a big one. Because now Zobrist can drive in the tying run with a hit.
I almost feel because it's a overthrown throw, it should be an E8 as the runner advances.
Zobrist is 1 for 2 and a walk tonight. And the changeup sits high for ball one.
Always remember, remember your score. You're a position of strength. You're winning this game. The worst thing that can happen is to let the runner advance. Best thing, just throw the ball in the second.
That's driven out to right center. Back in the gap, Nimmo, he won't get it, and that'll tie up the game. LaStella comes in to score. Zobrist stands at second with an RBI double. And just like that, the Cubs have rallied to tie the game at 2. And all of Zach Wheeler's hard work gets flushed.
Zobrist red hot. He scalds this one up out over the plate. I like the line drives I'm seeing.
5 hits in this series for Zobrist.
Not from the Cubs, though, but just from what I've seen in baseball, more manufactured runs being manufactured run. Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, that's the universal sign of.
So now the go-ahead run at second with 1 out. Jason Hayward, the batter. And the changeup in for a strike.
Boy,
well, with that, Zach Wheeler is now winless in his last 10 starts at Citi Field, the longest streak since Mike Pelfrey in his last 10 starts as a Met. But he pitched well enough to win tonight. 6 innings plus. He gets charged with 2 runs and 7 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 103 pitches. And now it's on the bullpen to keep this game tied. Nobody up behind Sewald after he was brought in with a double switch. And Hayward takes up and in 1-1. Mets bullpen of late has been porous. Best in baseball the first 2.5 weeks of the season. Since then, not good at all.
Who taught Rosario this move, by the way?
I've never seen
in front of the runner, blocking him out, and then going back to his position. Who taught him that?
I've never seen that before, Ronnie. Have you?
That's ridiculous.
And for what purpose?
Well, I think they're trying
now Hayward's getting angry.
They're trying to block the signs. Like they're thinking that Zobrist might be relaying the signs to Hayward.
Cabrera yelling at Hayward, you should have nothing to worry about if you're not trying to steal signs. So that's what it's all about.
Still never seen it.
And he does it again. I mean, there's nothing illegal about it.
Exactly. You can do whatever you want. You don't like it, take a hike.
Broken bat grounder down to Gonzalez, and he'll retire Hayward for the second out. And no more conversation about it as Hayward runs off the field. Zobrist goes to third, so now the go-ahead run at third with 2 out.
Well, because of you know, the video people are part of your bench. They really are. They're only a clubhouse away. Every team in baseball is extra paranoid about the stealing of signs, maybe rightfully so.
That was a novel twist. So here's Chris Bryant with the go-ahead run at third, and he drives one into right center, and that'll give the Cubs the lead. First pitch swinging, takes the fastball the other way. Bryant drives in the go-ahead run, and it's 3-2 Chicago.
Keep going the other way in an RBI situation.
Yep. Not thinking about a home run. Watch him. They're trying to come in. Doesn't get it in. That's a ball you could pull, play either way. And you're trying to drive in a run here. You're not trying to hit a home run. You see the expression. Just trying to get the base hit. That's all that's needed. That's just quality hitting.
And after a rough month of May, June starts no better for Paul Sewald. Sacrifice fly, double, single, and just like that, 3 runs are in. First 2 runs charged to Wheeler, third run charged to Sewald. Rizzo's 0 for 3 tonight. Grounded into a double play, popped up and flied out. And he gets jammed and fouls it back, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, you got to pitch Rizzo in. He's on top of that plate.
This entire inning was set in motion by the Cubs using what is now a rarely seen play, as La Stella had the hit and run single to set the table, and the Cubs have cashed in from there.
It is a tremendous weapon if you've got hitters that know how to do it. And it's not a lot of major leaguers want to fiddle with that, because that is not going to get you a gigantic contract.
That's lined to right field. Nimmo coming on, and he gets there to retire the side, but not before the Cubs plate 3 in the top of the 7th and grab the lead. Stretch time at Citi Field, 3-2 Chicago. Our old friend Ralph Kiner, who served in the U.S. Navy, Hall of Famer, 7-time National League batting champion. Hats off.
Miss Ralph.
Wilson Contreras in to catch after Jimenez left for the pinch hitter. Randy Rosario got 2 outs in the 6th. Now he's pitcher of record on the long side. He gets Reyes to chase a pitch in the dirt. And quickly it's 0-2. Jose came in a double switch the last half inning.
Reyes and Cespedes took an extended early hitting this afternoon.
Foul right at the plate. Rosario and Nimmo to follow for the Mets here in the 7th. Pedro Strop was up a few moments ago in the Cubs bullpen, but there's nobody throwing right now. With Rosario and then the left-hand batting Nimmo, they're going to try and get Rosario through this 7th inning. And one skips into Reyes, 1-2.
I don't know whether he's throwing a split finger or a changeup.
In the air to left field, pretty well hit. Schwarber, though, has room on the warning track to get it for the first out. Let's check in with the studio. Eamon McEnany has another game break. Mets have missed Mike Fulton-Evich so far. He's been the Braves' best pitcher. Probably see him when we go back to Atlanta on the next road trip. Ahmed Rosario up with 1 out. Rosario walked and scored in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th. Mets had a chance in the 6th to add to their lead. Back-to-back walks to start that inning, but Chad Wood and Rosario combined to get the Cubs out of it. And the Cubs responded then with 3 in the 7th. Just the 4th appearance for Rosario since being called up, and he's been spotless so far. And a good changeup ahead on Rosario, 1-2.
Good call. It is a changeup that he's throwing.
So it's the all Rosario matchup. Randy against Ahmed. And Ahmed hits one toward the middle, but Russell's right there to grab it. 2 out. All is rosy for Randy. So now it's Nimmo who's been the answer for the Mets. Tonight, a walk, an opposite field 2-run homer, and a base hit to right. His OPS is now up to 1,049.
Crowd perks up when he comes to bat each and every time.
And he goes after a first pitch slider, 0-1. Nimmo was homered in back-to-back games for the first time in his career. Last night hit one to right center, tonight to left field. This was in the 3rd.
Fastball away. Went right with it. No overswing. Look at him bust out of the box. Doesn't take anything for granted.
Fastest home run trots in baseball.
Yeah, it's under 18 seconds, right? A little over 17 seconds it takes him to get around.
He just brings so much energy.
Those numbers against lefties have been coming up recently as he's gotten more opportunities. Good looking slider in for a strike, and it's 1-2.
He has to adjust that change.
That's the toughest pitch, isn't it, Keith? That left-hander, 3/4, starts it behind you, that breaking ball.
But if you hang in there,
yeah.
Oh boy, it breaks right in the wheelhouse.
Okay, WC. Rosario might present an interesting problem if you had a guy tying a winning run on 3rd in less than 2 outs, or even 2 outs as far as the ball's in the dirt.
It's only his 6th major league appearance, 2 last year with the Twins and now 4 this year for the Cubs. But he's done well so far. 4 batters faced, 4 retired. Nimmo shoots one foul. The more he faces lefty, the more he looks like he's comfortable.
Well, he's hanging in there. He stays in.
Used to be they would never throw you a ball while you still have one.
Yeah.
You can't have two balls in play at once.
That's right.
Seen that a lot though lately.
But when a pitcher wants a new ball, it's okay, doesn't it? Because it's his choice.
First one in first. Nimmo strikes out, and Rosario has faced 5 and retired them all. Impressive by the Cubs rookie left-hander. On to the 8th we go, 3-2 Chicago.
Runs in the top of the 7th. They will. Oh, there's tonight's starters. Excuse me.
People's United Bank starters,
That's
Keith.
right, Ron. You do the pitching. Was that a butcher job? Gary, next time be quicker when you leave.
You save my job every time. Albert Almora leads off in the 8th. And he shoots one through the right side for a base hit. 3rd hit of the night for Albert Almora.
Cubs are starting to put a clinic on. Hitting the ball the other way, hit and run.
Well, I'm seeing it more in this year, where it's not everybody trying to hit one out into the parking lot.
Now Ian Happ will be the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher. He's the last man on the Cubs bench. Happ started last night in center field, went 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. A lot of power, lots of strikeouts. 61 strikeouts and 131 at bats. And he takes a strike.
Interesting, on a 1-run game that he would empty his bench. He could have had the pitcher or sent a pitcher up to sacrifice.
Tim Peterson up in the Mets bullpen after his debut in Atlanta the other night.
Looking for some cushion.
Seawald ahead on Happ 0-2. Just keeping the ball upstairs to him.
Yeah. He's got a grooved swing, and what I mean by that, Pedro Strop gets up. He's got a swing in one path, and if you throw it in that path, he could hit it 450 feet. To miss that path, just throw it up.
Strike 3 called. Got him looking for the first out. First strikeout for Seawald in relief. Kind of like, remember Pete Incaviglia?
Yes, Inky.
I mean, tremendous power, but if he threw the ball upstairs, he got himself out.
And Rob Deere, who was a similar hitter in the American League, low average, lots of home runs, was just the opposite. He had to keep the ball down on him. He was a high ball hitter. Incaviglia was so barrel chested. That's why could tie him up inside.
He's a happy-go-lucky guy, too. Always had a good disposition. Chatterbox. Like me.
It's an asset in this profession. Addison Russell's 2 for 3. Had a base hit to right to start that 3-run 7th for the Cubs. I mean, think about that inning, right?
Yeah.
You had Russell go to right field. You had Listell on the hit and run play go to the opposite field. You had Bryant on the go-ahead hit go to the opposite field.
A sacrifice fly.
And now Almora starting this inning going to the opposite field.
Hey, they bunched together 4 hits and a sac fly. 3 singles. Heaven forbid. What's the world coming to?
Baseball. Slider by Sewald fouled off, and it's 0-2. Mets led after 6 innings tonight, and now trail. Mets have already lost 6 games this year when they lead after 6. Only one other team has lost as many, and that's the White Sox, who are 21 games under 500.
Got to watch Almora here. Sewald hasn't thrown over. Maybe one throw over. Keep him closer.
Almora has yet to steal a base this year. And Sewald strikes out Russell for the 2nd out.
Up and in.
So back-to-back strikeouts for Sewald.
Oh, so it's kind of a slider that backed up, or just fastball that he didn't paint on the outside corner. Worked though.
Now Wilson Contreras up for the first time. Contreras last night 0 for 3, a sacrifice fly. He's been a hot hitter, hitting over 340 the last 18 games. And he hits it sharply past Reyes and into left field. Almora around second, tries for third. Bautista's throw goes wide, backed up by Mesoraco. So Contreras rockets one by Reyes, who just has not been able to flag balls down at third base.
Well, this ball's a bullet. But under the glove of Jose, and you saw he's just not comfortable at third. I got a slow break on that.
So now runners at the corners with 2 out, and that'll bring up Kyle Schwarber. Almora went down to heap at third base, but he's up and okay.
I'm surprised he took that chance, only because of Schwarber up. Oh, he almost.
What was that?
He's trying to get out of the way of the throw.
Why is he not sliding feet first in the first place if it's going to be a close play?
It's a really good question.
So if Reyes catches that ball, he's out.
Schwarber lifts one deep to left. Back goes Bautista looking up, and it's out of here. Kyle Schwarber breaks this game open with an opposite field 3-run homer. Schwarber's 11th home run of the year, and the Cubs now lead at 6-2. And the Mets bullpen has imploded yet again. Schwarber came off the bench in the 7th inning. He has 4 RBIs for the night.
Similar pitch that Nimmo hit out right there.
Yep.
Not trying to do anything with it other than just take a nice easy swing. And that is where he hit it. 358, folks. That's 10 feet less than the gap at Wrigley Field. That is an easy poke.
That's going to be all for Sewald, who goes through a rough inning and 2/3. 4th home run he's allowed this year. 6-2 Cubs in the 8th. We'll be right back. Second big league appearance for Tim Peterson. And he gets a first pitch strike into Ben Zobrist.
Yeah, his first 2 innings in Atlanta. Gave up a home run to Johan Camargo.
Zobrist already had another big night. Walk, single, double. Drove in the tying run in the 7th inning with that double. 5 for 8 in this series. Tim Peterson out of the University of Kentucky by way of Puyallup, Washington, same hometown as John Lester.
That's right. You told me you love saying that town.
Puyallup. Lined up the middle and a base hit for Zobrist, his 3rd hit of the night.
Zobrist is red hot.
Second straight 3-hit game for Zobrist. And the carnage continues.
Well, in this series, you could play a shift of all 7 guys straight from the umpire all the way back to the Geico sign. That'd be the best way to shift Zobrist. Maybe one in the bullpen from yesterday.
Well, over the first 6 innings, the Cubs had no runs and 5 hits. Last 2 innings, 6 runs and 8 hits. There's Hayward, who's gone 0 for 4. A good changeup from Peterson to start him off.
Keith, what'd you say about their bench? What has Madden got from his bench offensively tonight?
3 for 4, 3 runs, a home run, and 5 RBI.
Pretty good for a 4-man bench.
That's pretty good, yeah.
The last 9 games, the Mets bullpen has now allowed 33 earned runs in 35 innings. And it doesn't matter how many numbers they throw at the problem. Right now, if you look up and down the Mets bullpen roster, and they're carrying 8 now. They DFA'd Scott Copeland today after he made his Mets debut last night. So they're carrying an 8-man pen. Really, there are only 2 guys who Callaway can trust.
Yeah.
That's Familia and Gazelman. After that, everybody's struggling. And even those 2 have had their moments.
Oh, the sweet irony. Copeland was the only guy who was any good last night.
That's true.
Bittersweet.
That's a better word.
Mets went back to a 4-man bench tonight when they brought Jose Lobaton back, and they needed the spot on the 40-man, so Copeland was DFA'd. So the Mets now have a 4-man bench with 2 catchers on the bench. But they're going to maximize those catchers, at least for the moment, by playing Kevin Plawecki at first base tomorrow against the lefty. Also frees up Devin Mesoraco to pinch hit on days he's not starting, which is helpful. That will probably only last till Todd Frazier's ready to come back. 3-2, Zobrist runs, and Hayward takes strike 3 called, and the side is retired. But not before Kyle Schwarber's 3-run homer breaks this game for the Cubs. Schwarber's 11th of the year, a 3-run shot makes it 6-2 Chicago, going to the bottom of the 8th. Streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Ian Happ stays in the game in center field. Pedro Strop will pitch the bottom of the 8th.
The hat askew as always. Pedro, 22 of his 24 appearances have been scoreless, but I always find that stat misleading because last night he gave up a couple of walks, had to be bailed out by Brandon Morrow.
Cabrera tonight 1 for 3, singled back in the first inning. Mets have been limited to 4 hits tonight after just 4 hits last night. So for all we talk about the Mets bullpen, and certainly it's been an enormous concern, there have been plenty of nights when the Mets offense has not provided enough of a cushion to give the bullpen any solace. And this is one of those nights. Strop quickly falls behind 3-0. Happ staying in the game in center field, I would have to think, is because of that tumble that Almora took into third base, because Almora is by far the better defender. That's ball 4, and Cabrera's on with a leadoff walk.
And there's no reason, because now Strop is the third hitter next inning in the 9th.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with protecting the pitcher spot.
Right.
I think Almora hurt himself.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between defensive ability of Almora and Happ.
It's not a very elegant way to arrive at third base.
Ended up scoring though, didn't he?
He did. Here's Conforto, who's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. 5 walks now for Cubs pitchers. It's been an interesting season for the Cubs pitching staff. You look at them overall, their ERA is second in the National League behind Washington. They've given up the fewest hits, but the second most walks of any staff in the league, led by Chatwood, the starter tonight, who walked 4 and has now walked 49 in 54 innings. Bullpen's been terrific, led by Morrow, who's been closing for them and has been wonderful.
See, to me, hits and walks go side by side. If you pair those together, that's the kind of traffic you have on the bases. So obviously they're pitching pretty well with runners on base and runners in scoring position. If that changes at all, boy, you're looking for some downtime for the Cubs.
Or if they start giving up more long balls after those walks.
But the best way is reduce the walks, and then you have to worry about it.
Steve Cishek is up in the bullpen behind Strop after he gave up a leadoff walk. Devin Mesoraco waiting on deck as the Mets try and rebound here in the 8th. And Conforto tries to lay off and stopped it in time. 2-2. I think his cap is even further askew than Fernando Rodney's.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's pretty good competition.
Yeah, it is. You know, there was a time, our hitting instructor, he liked to be called, the late great Bill Robinson. If you didn't wear your hat correctly, he would get on you until you did. But you know, ever since Ken Griffey Jr.
I was going to say, remember when Buck Showalter got all over Jr. for wearing his hat backwards in batting practice? Jesus. Those times are long past now.
Yeah.
Goodness.
You're allowed to be a free spirit now. I like it. Wouldn't do it. Oh, there's a lid for you.
It looked like
Ches knows how to work.
That looked like Jed Clampett.
And Conforto goes down on the high slider, and he has struck out for the 3rd time tonight. That's the first out in the bottom of the 8th.
That's just hanging right there.
So 1 out and 1 on. Here's Mesoraco, who has a single and a walk tonight, 1 for 2, hitting in the cleanup spot for the first time for the Mets.
Can we see that cameraman again? With that sombrero he's got on, that lid. Dave, where'd you get the hat?
Ches,
look at
Ches is just trying to draw attention.
All you need to do is get a beard and put you on the Beverly Hillbillies right there. Be the father of Jethro Bodine.
Black gold, Texas tea.
Movie stars.
And a knee-high strike to Mesoraco, and it's 1-2. The lefty Brian Dunsing has joined Steve Cishek in the Cubs bullpen. You got the right-hand hitter Bautista on deck, then Gonzalez. And he rolls over and fouls it. Well, the Braves lead the Nats 4-0 in the 8th. Dansby Swanson homering against Strasburg. Foltynewicz has a one-hitter going in the 8th as the Braves try and make it back-to-back wins to start that series.
Fantastic.
Double play ball if they hurry. Russell on the money to Zobrist, but too late to first. So they get the second out. 6-4 fielder's choice, and Mesoraco aboard with 2 away.
Foltynewicz is not only pitching well, but he's pitching deep into games for the Braves.
It's still allowed, right?
Yeah, the light bulb has gone off for Foltynewicz.
Here's Bautista up for the second time. And a rough at bat in the 6th. And he drills that one and left the base hit. Schwarber trying to track it down, cuts it off deep. Mesoraco goes to third, Bautista to second with a scorching double.
Continues to swing the bat good. He's pulling the ball, which is a sign he got the bat speed. That's an inside fastball sinking. He's turning.
Well, Adrian Gonzalez due up. Joe Madden's got the left-hander Dunsing ready in the bullpen.
And comes out to the music of El Mariachi Loco. That's Adrian Gonzalez's song.
So you identified it.
Yes.
You Shazam.
Yeah, well, Russ got it for me.
Dunsing in, Strobe out, 6-2 in the 8th. We'll be right back. Sweepstakes from the New York Lottery. You could win cash if a Mets player hits a home run off the New York Lottery sign. Current bullpen jackpot is $140,000. Go to sny.tv/New York Lottery to enter. Entering for the Cubs is Brian Dunsing for the second straight night.
Strong year last year. Signed a 2-year contract in January with the Cubbies.
Gonzalez hit the ball hard against Dunsing last night, lining out to right field, and then the next batter, Brandon Nimmo, hit the ball out of the ballpark against Dunsing, so it wasn't a great night for the veteran lefty. But he's ahead of Gonzalez here, 0-2. Kevin Plawecki is out on deck to pinch hit. if Gonzalez keeps the inning going. Mesoraco at third, Bautista at second with 2 out. And a breaking ball lined into center field, a base hit for Gonzalez, and that'll bring in 2. Mesoraco and Bautista score, and the Mets are back in this game. It's now 6-4.
Boy, nice hitting by the veteran.
On an 0-2 pitch, Gonzalez comes through and drives in a pair against the lefty.
All that was needed is a base hit. Keep the line running. Good hitting. Stayed in on that slider. Picked it off the ground almost. 2 outs. Break on contact. Score easy on a ball like that. Nice hitting. Adrian stays. Look at the shoulder. Goes out and off towards the end of the bat. He pulled off. He has no chance. Let go with one hand.
So Dunsing, having a rough series, will exit, and they'll bring in the right-hander Steve Cishek to face the pinch hitter Kevin Plawecki. We'll be right back. Sidearmer Steve Cishek in for the second straight night.
Boy, every reliever that comes in for the Cubs has outstanding numbers.
Kevin Plawecki pinch hitting, and he takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. Plawecki's first pinch hit appearance of this season. He's 4 for 10 in his career as a pinch hitter. Tying run at the plate in a 6-4 game after Gonzalez's 2-run hit. And a slider drops in for a strike, 1-1. The hit by Gonzalez, the first for the Mets in this series with a runner in scoring position. Mets had 13 games in May when they didn't have a single hit with a runner in scoring position. June will not start that way. Plawecki grounds one foul, and now it's 1-2.
Cishek has a pretty good spinner tonight.
Reyes on deck. Familia getting ready. One-two coming, and Plawecki takes high. That's the new wrinkle for Cishek that we saw last night.
Smart kid, trying to use some of the analytics, even though he's a submariner, occasionally elevating that fastball.
Struck out a pair last night, both on high fastballs. And Plawecki takes it inside, and it's 3-2. So that'll give Gonzalez an automatic start. Rizzo will play behind him. Three-two coming. Fouls it back. Plawecki, who's due to get a start at first base tomorrow. It'll be the third time in his career he will have started a game at first. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming from CHN to Plawecki. And it's in there for a call, strike 3. Got him looking at a fastball. And the side retired. Mets get closer on the Gonzalez 2-run hit. 6-4 Cubs as we go to the ninth. For New York.
Last time he pitched in the game, he gave up 2 hits in an inning of work in the 8th before Gonzalez pitched the 9th.
Chris Bryant, first man to face him. 2 for 3 and a walk. He's driven in a run tonight. That was the go-ahead run in the 7th against Sewald. And he takes low and away for ball 1. Rizzo in the pitcher's spot to follow, and there's nobody left on the Cubs bench. So that means either Cishek bats for himself or another pitcher bats for him.
Well, it's a save situation, right? So Morrow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're talking about that point in the lineup.
And a call strike to Bryant, 1-1. There's Morrow, who got a 2-pitch save last night. Will be asked to go a full inning tonight. Cubs have used their entire bench. Mets have Jose Lobaton left on theirs. And Bryant takes a slider low and in.
Tell you what, it makes for quite a scorecard tonight.
Well, good thing that each team only has a 4-man bench. Otherwise, it would be a lot messier.
A lot going on.
John Lester, he's not going to pinch hit, is he?
Maybe that would be.
Remember, he was 0 for 66 to start his career.
That would come full circle for John.
He's going to pitch here on Sunday in the last game of the series. And Bryant tops one up the line, and he couldn't have rolled it out there any better. No reason for Familia to throw. A base hit for Bryant, his 3rd of the night. A swinging bunt that was just perfectly placed.
Blooper, his first at base hit to right field, and he bookended it with a bleeder down the third base line.
It's always interesting, these hits, and start out in foul territory, fouled straight down behind the plate, but they have topspin on it, and that propels it out into fair territory.
Well, you're going to love this, Ronnie.
Yeah.
John Lester is out on deck.
I knew, yeah. Full circle.
Come on.
0 for 66.
Wow.
And now he has a pinch hitting opportunity.
Here's Rizzo, who's gone 0 for 4 tonight, lined out to right his last time up. And blocked by Mesoraco, ball 1. Coming up tonight on Geico Sportsnet at 11 o'clock, all the MLB action from today and from 6 years ago. And the J.R. Smith living in the Chris Webber world forever. Rizzo pops one foul, 1-1.
Ball way inside.
Anthony Rizzo, remarkably consistent.
Wow.
3-time All-Star.
He's got a little bit of catching up to do this year. He hasn't started off as great, but April was bad. May was real solid.
He had 9 RBIs at the end of April, 28 RBIs in May. Looking for his first in June. There goes the runner. Pitches high. Perfect throw by Mesoraco, and Bryant is out from me to you. 2-6 on the caught stealing. Bryant has been caught 3 times out of 4 this year.
Tell you what, Mesoraco throws well. Good pitch to throw. Good footwork. Right over the top. No tail to the throw. Perfect.
Did you see Mesoraco? It's almost like he asked Familia for a semi-pitch out on that. Like he sensed Bryant was going.
It's the second time we've seen that recently. A non-pitch out, pitch out. So 1 out and nobody on, 2-1 to Rizzo. And he lines one down the right field line, and that'll settle into the corner. An extra base hit for Rizzo. So back-to-back hits for the Cubs against Familia. Rizzo with the 1-out double.
Breaking ball.
You know, the sharpness of Familia stuff has just not been there. Even through some of the good times when he had all of those early saves. Still waiting for that power sinker and power slider to come back.
That just stayed right. It was down, but right down the middle.
So now it will be John Lester to pinch hit with the Cubs out of bench players. Lester, lifetime .094 hitter. It's become a pretty good bunter. Not really a bunting situation with the runner at second and 1 out. And he takes a fastball for a strike. He went 0 for his first 66 to start his major league career, but he had 8 hits last year, including a home run. And he's got 4 hits this year and 3 runs batted in. The old dog has taught himself new tricks.
He has, but this is what happens when you have so many pitchers in the bullpen. It's just, you know, you don't have a bench in a 2-run game to be able to set up a send up a competitive hitter. Now watch Lester get a hit.
No, the Mets have had what 21 plate appearances from relief pitchers this year.
Well, 30 years ago, if the manager got caught with no more bench, had to put a pitcher up, he would have been ridiculed.
Yeah.
Well, look at it this way. The first Met pitcher ever to get a pinch hit was David Cohn, and that was in 1991. So the Mets played into their 30th season before a pitcher ever got a pinch hit.
And let me tell you something.
That's the biggest upset in sports of all time.
Coney had the field mouse swing.
Sure. Sorry, David.
He wasn't the worst hitting pitcher we've seen.
That was an ugly swing. I don't know how he got it done.
1-2 to Lester. And the slider misses down. 2-2.
Now, if you didn't know John Lester was old for his first 66, he looks like a hitter up there now. He's worked really hard. Not like a hitter, but you know what I mean? Looks like he can give you a chance.
He's had 2 previous pinch hit appearances in his career. Both were sacrifices. Getting to swing the bat this time. And he takes the fastball inside, and now it's 3-2. So Familia making this much more complicated than it needs to be. Ian Happ is the on-deck batter. Familia's last outing was asked to work the 8th in Atlanta. And then Robert Gazelman came off for the save in the 9th. Here he's asked to come in with the Mets behind in the 9th. Rizzo at second and 1 out. 3-2 to Lester. And he hits a ground ball for Cabrera to handle. And that's the second out as Rizzo goes to third.
You mentioned last night, Ron, about Cabrera. And you were absolutely right. Cabrera's got great hands. Great. Smooth hands. Soft hands, we would call it. And, you know, you can't, if this guy's, you're born with bad hands, you can take all the ground balls you want. You got bad hands, but it's a gift, and he is so soft.
Hands knows hands.
Yeah.
Here's Ian Happ with the runner at third and 2 out. And he bloops one into center. That's going to fall for a base hit, and they'll bring in another run. Rizzo trots in to score, and it's 7-4 Chicago.
Wow.
Another example of a Cubs hitter taking one the other way, putting the ball in play to drive in a run.
Yep. And that was a line drive. Yeah, that's a liner.
Even a guy who strikes out, it seemed like he cut down on this swing just for this one pitch.
Humpback?
Went right with it.
Humpback, Keith?
Pardon me?
Humpback?
No, that was a soft liner.
Here's Addison Russell.
Rizzo took the handoff there of the bat. Must have been an ex-football player. He had the right hand up, too.
So the Cubs, who were shut out for the first 6, have now scored 7 runs in the last 3 innings. 5 of them charged to the Mets bullpen. The other 2 were inherited runners that got charged to Wheeler, but were let in by the bullpen. It's got to be over the course of however many weeks it's been that this bullpen has been performing like this, an incredibly demoralizing thing for a team.
Well, I think it's been coupled, with some of the inability for the starters to go deeper. That's coupled with that. I've heard a lot of having to pitch in high leverage spots. I don't buy that. I mean, that's you got the. You bring to the dance who you got. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to play in those kind of games, or maybe you're the kind of team that plays in a lot of one-run games. But I think the demoralizing part, Gary, is that the game has been built around bullpens. That's where the game is. So if you don't have a good bullpen, it's demoralizing, and it gives you a little chance.
Well, you look at the Cleveland Indians, who have had bullpen struggles all year, and yet they've been able to overcome them, sit in first place.
Well, they scored, the most runs in May? I mean, that helps.
That helps. They blew an 8-0 lead last night and won. There goes the runner. Russell hits one in the hole, bobbled by Reyes, and rolls into the outfield. Happ goes to third. He'll stop there. And Reyes' defensive struggles continue to bite the Mets.
Off the tip of his glove.
I mean, he's got to get to that ball.
They give him a base hit, aren't they?
That's a base hit. It was off the tip of his glove. Should be.
It's going to be an error.
Ooh, that's a tough error. Okay.
So the inning continues with runners at the corners and 2 out. And Wilson Contreras comes up for the second time at a base hit and scored in front of the Schwarber 3-run homer in the 8th. Cubs now have 16 hits tonight. And 10 of them have come in the last 3 innings.
Oh, boy.
Short of them, 11 have come in the last 3 innings.
Yeah.
Well, our next SNY telecast will be Tuesday night when the Orioles come to town. 6:30 the coverage. Tuesday Night Baseball brought to you by Fios by Verizon. Right here on SNY. Fox tomorrow, picks on Sunday to close out this series. And Familia falls behind Contreras 2-0. So now you got Familia already throwing 21 pitches in this game. You don't want to lose him for tomorrow, and so the Mets get somebody else up in the bullpen. And Contreras flies one out to center. Conforto comes on to get it. And that retires the side, but the Cubs tack on another run, and the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 9th, down 7-4. And Brandon Morrow, who got the save with just 2 pitches last night, will try and save it again tonight.
Well, Morrow's been unbelievable. Stretch of games that he's not giving up a home run, 13 of 14 saves. Really made his mark last year in the bullpen for the Dodgers, and has continued here after signing a free agent contract with the Cubs.
We'll say Reyes will lead off for the Mets in the last of the 9th. Reyes, Rosario, and Nimmo due up. Morrow faced one batter last night. He got Rosario to hit a ground ball to close out the Cubs win. Joe Madden using just about everybody available tonight. Every bench player, 6 pitchers, a pitcher as a pinch hitter. Randy Rosario is pitcher of record on the long side. Paul Sewald is pitcher of record on the short side. 2-1 to Reyes.
I think Rosario has a win earlier this year. Yeah, he does.
Good luck charm.
Yeah.
Well, he retired all 5 he faced tonight. He's been the most effective reliever on either side. Morrow falls behind Reyes 3-1. Morrow's only walked 6 batters in 18 innings this year. Reyes hit one of the warning track in left in his only at bat. And he takes ball 4. The Mets get the leadoff man on in the night.
The walk has been the best offense for the Mets.
6. The 4th leadoff walk they've drawn in this game. The only problem is, as I made the 5th leadoff walk they've drawn in this game, and one of them has scored. It was Rosario who came around on Nimmo's home run. Since then, Ahmed's gone 0 for 2. Mets need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate, with Nimmo waiting to follow. It's not often a team walks the leadoff hitter 5 times in a game and lives to tell about it.
Right.
And Rosario takes a strike. 97 miles an hour from Brandon Morrow.
Straight over the top with a little run.
Double play ball. Zobrist with the flip to Russell. Back to first, but not in time. That ball handcuffed Zobrist so that he just couldn't get rid of it quickly, and that saved the Mets, the double play.
Well, came up on him, right?
It's a high hop.
Huh? You also have to be sure, right? This time of the game.
Yeah, Rosario runs too well. Absolutely. I bet he knows he should have. It's all right. You got the lead runner.
So now Nimmo, who's got a walk, a single, and a 2-run homer tonight. 2 for 3. And he takes a letter high fastball for a strike. Morrow's really evolved from when he was a starter. He used to throw curveballs and changeups. He scrapped that whole part of his game. It's all power now.
And I'd like to say his stuff is upticked, but when he was at his best as a starter, he was 97, 98 then.
You remember when we saw him in Toronto? It's got to be, what, 7, 8 years ago? And he was spectacular.
I think he had a game where he struck out 17. I mean, he was one of those guys that you were expecting maybe a no-hitter every night and just couldn't stay healthy.
Rosario at first and 1 out. And Nimmo beaten on the fastball, and it's 1-2. The Braves shut out the Nationals tonight 4-0. Mike Fultonevich, complete game 2 hitter, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts.
Wow.
He has really evolved. One-two coming. And it's too high. And what it means is if the Mets don't rally in this game, they'll be 6 games behind the Braves on the 1st of June.
Wasn't it on this mound here that we saw Fultonevich maybe have his worst start as a major league? I don't think he lasted out of the first 7th spot or something like that. That was bottom of the barrel for him.
Two-two to Nimmo. And he takes it low. This is what Nimmo does best in a spot where he absolutely needs to get on base to get the tying run to the plate. He's worked the count full with Cabrera, who leads the Mets in home runs, waiting on deck. Three-two. High fly ball, center field. Happ waiting for it. 2 out.
See, that's what happens when you've got great velocity. You're able to, on a 3-2 count, really center cut it, but you have so much velocity, you just beat Nimmo just by a little bit and keep him in the park.
So the Mets are down to their final out of the night. Cabrera's 1 for 3 and a walk tonight. Trying to get on and get Conforto to the plate as the tying run. And a cutter on the inside corner, 0-1. Will stay inside, and Cabrera fouls it away, and now the Mets are down to their final strike. Oh, 2 from Morrow, and Cabrera shoots one down the right field line, headed foul. Deep into the seats, home run distance, but he got out ahead. Again, the 0-2, and he struck him out, and that ends the ball game. Morrow gets the save for the second straight day. The Cubs score 7 runs in the last 3 innings after a very good start for Zach Wheeler. And for the first time this season, the Mets have fallen below 500 as the Cubs have taken the first 2 games of this series, winning tonight 7-4.
Well, Wheeler threw beautifully through 6 innings, couldn't get through the 7th, put a couple of runners on. Both of those scored. The bullpen just couldn't get it done again. And it really was the bench of Joe Madden, Keith, that came alive.
They sure did. They scored all seven of their runs in the 7th inning on, and their bench went 3 for 4 with 3 runs, a home run, 5 RBIs. There's your W flag for Chicago Cub fans.
So the Cubs have won 5 of their last 6. Mets have now lost 7 of their last 9 to fall to 27-28. First time they've been below 500 this year. Tonight's game summary presented by Tri-Acura. The big blow, Kyle Schwarber's 3-run homer that put the Cubs up 6-2 in the 8th, and they hold on to beat the Mets tonight 7-4. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Fidelis Care. Here today, here tomorrow, here to stay. By Tri-Acura. Visit your local Tri-Acura dealer or online at triacuradealers.com. By Spectrum. Hey, Mets fans, get the best TV, internet, and voice service today at Spectrum.com. And by Honda, great deals are waiting at your Honda dealer. Final score tonight, the Cubs 7, the Mets 4. Tomorrow night on Fox, we're back with you on Picks on Sunday afternoon for the final game of the series. Steven Matz expected to start against John Lester. Coverage begins Sunday at 12:30 on Picks. Back on SNY Tuesday night for the first of 2 between the Mets and Orioles. Coverage begins Tuesday night at 6:30. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason Post Game Live. Let's join Gary Apple, Nelson Figueroa, and Todd Seal.